Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the ECyber Mission National Showcase. This is your chance to see all of the amazing projects that our students have worked on this year. My name is Matt Hartman. I'm going to be one of your hosts, and I am joined by...
Hi, I'm Erica Bertoli. Nice to see everyone. Welcome to the showcase.
We are very excited that you are all here. We're very excited for this. It has been one heck of a week. And these students have been learning all sorts of great stuff. They've been working hard on their projects all year long. And this is your chance to see what they have done. So we welcome all of the parents, all of the friends, all of the aunts and uncles and siblings and everybody out there. And we want to say thank you to all of you as well, to all of the people who helped these teams get to where they are and to be national finalists or STEM in Action grant winning teams. This is fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you. Thank you to the team advisors, of course. They're all here with us right now as well. Thank you to all the parents, the guardians, the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents, the siblings, everybody who has supported these students. It's always a difficult thing. Every scientist, every engineer knows you can't do it on your own. You need support, and you've been that support. So you deserve just as much accolades as all of these students do. So thank you so much for everything that you've done.
So this is always a really exciting part of our annual ECyber Mission program. The students have been with us all week doing different things, and part of what they've done is been able to meet some of our amazing Army scientists and engineers, learn about some of our technology, and really start to have some of those engagements to see what is the latest and greatest being done in our Army labs. In the weeks leading up to our National Judging and Education event, the students got to also interact with some of the scientists and engineers from our labs as STEM mentors, and they also got to work with some of our non-commissioned officers. They got to participate in workshops and peek behind the scenes of what our engineers are doing to support the soldiers and the nation. One of the reasons that we are here is because we all know that we as a nation are only ever as strong as our innovation. There's not an aspect of anybody's life that's not touched by STEM in some way, whether it's our national security, our environment, our vision. Everything we all do every single day is STEM. And we know that when we think about keeping our nation strong, keeping us secure, we are going to require a next generation of STEM excellence. And looking around at these kids' projects, I can tell you, you are in for a treat today, because these kids, they are going to be bringing it into the next generation of excellence. This is the reason that Army supports so much of our STEM education outreach programming for all of our young people. And we do it through a program called the Army Educational Outreach Program, or AEOP. AEOP has programs for everybody. They have competition programs like this, the ECyber Mission. They have competitions for older students like our Junior Science and Humanities Symposium, the Junior Solar Sprint. We have enrichment programs such as GEMS. There are even some scholarship programs, because I can tell you, as a mom myself, super excited about my kids going to college in another year or so, really not excited about having to pay for that college. So make sure you're checking out all of the opportunities that are available to you through the Army Educational Outreach Program, AEOP. You can find those on the web at www.usaeop.com. Or if you don't have time to write that down right now, just remember the letters AEOP. You can Google that, and that is going to be your one-stop shop for everything Army STEM. And to our teams, our kids, I have a challenge for you. One thing we know in Army, whether it is in our labs or in the field, is everything comes down to teamwork, to working together. That's something you guys all learned during your ECyber Mission experience. So I challenge you as you go forward into your new AEOP experiences, bring a friend, find a teammate, find somebody who you can work with and step onto your STEM path together. So now I get to do this all the time, and I have to tell you, and don't tell anybody, but of all the programs I do every year, ECyber Mission is honestly my favorite. It's the one that I look forward to every single year, just because the students amaze me, the projects amaze me, and it's always such a great time. Matt, how many years has ECyber Mission been going on?
Well, this is the 19th year for ECyber Mission, Erica. And you know what? I got to tell you, I am going to go tell everybody that this is your favorite, because I want everyone to know that. So your secret is not safe with me, I'm sorry to say. But yeah, it's been 19 years. And we've had, thousands and thousands and thousands of students involved with ECyber Mission over those 19 years. This year, we had over 6,000 students participate in ECyber Mission, and almost 500 team advisors and almost 1,300 teams. And that's from all 50 states, US territories, and some DoDEA schools overseas. Those are the Department of Defense schools that are based overseas. There were 201 actually first and second place winning teams at the state level. There were 63 regional finalist teams. So that's the way that our competition works. And those of you that have students here at the national level, you probably know that already, but we have our virtual judging, which determines our first and second place state winners. And then we have our regional judging. And so our regional finalists go there. That's the top 3 teams in each grade in each region. We had over 1,500 volunteer virtual judges that judged those mission folders in the virtual judging, 27 regional judges, 14 national judges, and 14 STEM in Action grant judges that volunteered their time to review the mission folders, listen to the regional judging presentations, and review the STEM in Action grant proposals this year. So we started, like I said, with over 6,000 registered students, and today we have 75 students from 23 teams. So congratulations to all of you who are taking part today. 75 out of 6,000. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Wouldn't you say, Erica?
That is more than pretty good. That is downright incredible. I can't even imagine all of the work and dedication and effort all of you guys took in order to get here this week. And my hat's off to all of you, because I know what a commitment you all had to make to complete this process and to get all the way to the nationals, especially this year. So really, you should, each and every one of you, be so incredibly proud of yourselves. And just taking a minute to think about that process as Matt laid it out, and everything that they had to do in order to get here. So I will tell you, this week, the students did complete their national judging. Each student team went up in front of a panel of our Army STEM leaders to present their work. And that part is over. So I'm sure all of our students have taken a big giant sigh of relief that the judging is done. And now we do our showcase. So our kids get to just strut their stuff and show off all their great ideas. So just to kind of talk you through what we're going to be doing this morning, we're going to be bringing our teams up by grade level to share their amazing projects. And as Matt mentioned, all of the teams competed at state, regional, and national levels before getting here. So each of those teams that made it to the regional level that Matt mentioned also had the opportunity to participate in our STEM in Action grant process. The STEM in Action grant process allowed participating teams to create a whole separate proposal that outlined their plan to implement their idea in the community. A select group of STEM in Action judges evaluated those plans and scored them separately. And the top 10 teams were awarded a STEM in Action grant. Each of the 10 selected teams were given up to $5,000 as an award, and they were invited to participate in this national judging and educational event. The STEM in Action grant recipients can be, but they're not always our national finalist teams as well. And we're going to make sure we let you know who our STEM Action Grant teams are as we go along today. This year's STEM and Action Grant recipients represented all 4 of our competition grade levels. So these are really some amazing things. For our national round of competition this week, each grade level had 5 finalist teams, 1 for each region, competing for the national title. And today, our showcase is going to feature both our national finalist teams and our STEM in Action Grant recipients. So I know I'm pretty excited to get this show going and to start to hear from the students. We're almost there. Is there anything we forgot, Matt?
Gosh, I'm trying to think, Erica. Well, you know what? I didn't mention how I'm connected with ECyber Mission. I actually work for the National Science Teaching Association as the ECyber Mission Educational Content Manager. So I get to work on ECyber Mission all year round. And I'm also the contact for the STEM and Action Grant winners. So I get to work with them all year too. So I get to see all the progress that they have over the year as they're working on their project. Erica, did you tell us where you are out of and who you are working with?
That's a good point. No, I didn't. So I work for the U.S. Army DevCom C5ISR Center. And my job all year is I work with our Community Outreach Program Office. So I get to work with students K through 12 all year in helping them find opportunities to engage with STEM. So I don't get to work with only ECyber Mission all year. I'm a little bit envious of that because I always have so much fun with this program. But we work with the full parts of the AEOP portfolio. And then we also do some local programming out in Aberdeen, Maryland for our local students, summer camps and lab tours and things like that. And the great thing is, no matter where you're located across our country, if you're looking for your local Army facilities, your installations, things like that, you can usually find some really amazing programs going on in your local area, whether at the national level through AEOP or through more local installation programming. If you look at our command, DevCom, and you go online and you look for that, each of those DevCom centers or labs usually has a pretty incredible STEM outreach program at that local installation. So I would really encourage everyone, get to know your local Army community, get to know how you can engage with them, because no matter where you are, a big part of the Army is working with our local communities to make sure that we are being good neighbors and that we are providing support and activities and opportunities for all the kids and all the families that are near us.
There you go. Now, you said, and the Army, we love acronyms working with the Army, right? We've got AEOP right up here. And you said C5ISR. Does that stand for something in particular, Erica, or is that just kind of a general term in the Army?
Well, it does stand for something. So C5ISR is Command, Control, Communications, Computers, Cyber, and Reconnaissance, C5ISR. Wow. So that's actually the first thing they teach you when you come to work at my center is what the acronym stands for. But really a great way to think of C5ISR is the center that I work at is responsible for all of the different kinds of technologies that our soldiers use to communicate with each other, with the environment, to understand what the adversary has, to be able to work with satellites, with radar, all of those different things. Some of our students this week actually got to hang out with some of our night vision and our electronics engineers to see what some of those technologies look like. And those kids can actually tell you a lot of the stuff being done in our labs actually looks like some of the stuff that you could see in Iron Man, that you can see in some of the video games. So it's all some really, really cool stuff. And we're just one of the centers under DevCom, or the Development Command, Combat Capabilities Development Command. Each center or lab has a different focus, and all together, the Combat Capabilities Development Command, or DevCom, is responsible for the largest piece of research and development to keep our soldiers and our country safe, to make sure that they have the best technology available and that they're able to always maintain dominance.
Wow. All right. Well, amazing stuff. So, well, thank you, Erica, for working on all that. And for that workshop you were talking about, that night vision workshop sounded awesome. So I didn't get a chance to see it, but it sounded very, very cool. Um, so let's see, what else do we have to tell these folks? Well, of course, we have to remind you about the People's Choice Award. Now, if you're not familiar with that, during our national showcase, we give you, the viewer, an opportunity to vote on the team that you think kind of does the best job here. I guess your favorite team, if you will. So, maybe that favorite team includes, somebody related to you, or maybe a friend of yours, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe you're seeing some team for the first time do something and you're like, whoa, that is amazing. They deserve an award. Well, if you'd like to give them an award, you can vote for the People's Choice Award winner, because you're the people. You're going to make the choice. Now, you'll be able to do that voting via a link that you'll be able to find in the YouTube chat. You can find it in the description of this YouTube video. You'll find it on all of our social media. Of course, I'm sure you're all following at ECyber Mission on Twitter. I'm sure you've found our Facebook page and our Instagram. I'm sure that you are followers of ECyber Mission, but just in case you're not, you can go ahead and check those things out. You can find that link there. That voting is going to open at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Now, for those of you not in the Eastern time zone right now, it's currently 10:15 Eastern time. So do the math wherever you are, figure out how many, but essentially 15 minutes from now, you'll be able to start voting, and you'll be able to vote all the way until 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 3 hours that you have to do your voting. If you're watching this later, if you're watching the recorded version of this and it's after June 25th, 2021, I'm sorry, but you can't vote. But you could go ahead and send us a tweet or send us a message on Facebook. Just tell us who you would have voted for. And there's nothing we can do with that, but we will be happy to hear from you. And that would be amazing to hear about that. So yeah, so go ahead and make sure you vote. And if you go on one of those social media channels and you happen to want to post something, maybe about the national showcase, maybe about a particular team, whatever it might be, make sure you're using hashtag ECyber21. That's the official hashtag for NJNEE this year. NJNEE, of course, standing for National Judging and Educational Event. See, another acronym there, throwing it back at you. So don't forget to use that hashtag, and don't forget to vote between 10:30 a.m. Eastern time and 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. 3 hours, you've got 3 whole hours to get that voting done. And I think you're going to do it, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So, Erica, I think that might be all the things, all the housekeeping things that we need to discuss up top. Is there anything else that I've forgotten before we get into these teams?
Just one more thing I want to tell all the people who are out there watching this on YouTube. Another way to make sure that your voice is heard, in addition to making sure you vote for your People's Choice favorite, is you're actually able to leave your comments, ask questions in real time using the chat feature right in the YouTube channel that you're watching. So if you have questions for our teams, if you have comments, if you want to just tell them, hey, great job, you can go ahead and put those things right in the chat. And if you have questions, we're going to have some time in between some of our sections to be able to ask some of those questions of our students and to be able to share some. Sure, you're letting us know what you think and what you're seeing, and we're going to make sure that we're passing all of that information on.
Yep, absolutely, Erica. Thanks so much for adding that in there. Those questions, we are going to do this. We're going to do this today. We're going to have the grades kind of go all together. So we're going to have 6th grade up the top, then 7th, then 8th, and then 9th. You probably were ahead of me on that one. But between each grade, we will take a moment and we will answer some of those questions that folks are putting into the chat there and sending our team's way. So if you are watching a team presentation and you have a particular question about something that they're doing or something that they've done, go ahead and throw that in the chat there and we will address it in between the grade levels. So I think we're ready to go. Let's get started with our 6th grade teams. Now, as Erica mentioned earlier, the teams had mentors from the U.S. Army. They had some NCOs, some non-commissioned officers, as well as some Army scientists and engineers working with them in the lead up to our National Judging and Educational event. So for 6th grade, Those mentors were Sergeant Robert Contreras from the U.S. Army Health Clinic and Sergeant First Class Kishara Harris from the U.S. Army DevCom Army Research Lab. And the subject matter expert was Mr. A.P. Shaw from the U.S. Army DevCom C5 ISR Center. And of course, you know what C5 ISR stands for now, right? Right? Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with our very first team of the day for our national showcase. That team is the WMS STEM Solvers from Whitehall Middle School in Whitehall, Michigan. They're made up of Lily Britton, Mary DeRose, Isla Dykeman, and Ellen Nicholson, and their team advisor is Susan Tate. So ladies and gentlemen, WMS STEM Solvers. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Mary, a member of the WMS STEM Solvers from Michigan. For our project, we created a fidget toy named Trust the Turtle that specializes in reducing anxiety and helping students stay focused. Our school has been face-to-face since September. After saying goodbye to our friends in March of 2020, we were happy to be back to school, even though it didn't look the same as usual. We could see that many students were anxious about not doing well in school and stressed about friends and family catching COVID. Our team has worked very hard to make sure that Trust supports learning instead of just being a distraction in the classroom. In addition, we made sure that this design was approved by teachers so that they would allow it in their classrooms. Today, each of us is going to inform you even more about our fidget toy. Here's Ella to take you through our research.
Hi, I'm Ella. For the last year, I have struggled with learning and staying focused. I know that I am in good company because our team surveyed the students at our school, and of the 347 students who completed our survey, 59% said they'd like to use fidget toys to reduce stress and help them focus on their schoolwork. When I was able to use Trust the Turtle, I found that my learning increased and I could focus for longer periods of time. Trust has helped me so much. I'm proud of the fact that I was involved with this project and that we use the feedback from our students and what we learned from our prototyping process to make the best fidget toy we could. Additionally, teacher feedback allowed us to design a fidget that was quiet and didn't distract other students.
Hello, I'm Isla, and I'll explain the design of our fidget turtle. After doing internet research, we FaceTime interviewed Sylvan Benton, a former Whitehall graduate who now attends Western Michigan University. Sylvan studies product design, so we thought her interview would be informative. And it was. She gave us tips about prototyping, creating focus groups, and making improvements to our design. Prototyping was very important to our process because it helped us learn materials were easy to work with and would meet the needs of students. Illustrate our prototyping and design process. Tress is in the shape of a sea turtle. Her upper shell, or carapace, has 4 different sensory surfaces. Her lower shell, or plastron, is smooth to the touch. We learned from our student survey that 50% of kids select a fidget based on feel. So we wanted to have a variety of textures. Each arm contains a marble that you can slide back and forth. Inside of Tress's body are foam balls and marbles that you can move around. It kind of reminds us of turtle eggs. By the way, Tress's name is made up to letters and stress rearranged.
Hello, I'm Lily. I believe that Tress had a big impact on our middle school students, and anxiety and lack of focus increases between the ages of 12 through 17, so that's the age group we targeted. We put a lot of research into learning what fidgets students prefer, and created a focus group to make improvements. 75% of our focus group members had an overall positive impression of Tress and thought she would help students who were anxious. We created a marketing campaign with posters around our school so more students could learn about Tress. We learned how to make a QR code to put on our posters so that students could use their smartphones to get more information. We would like to mass produce Tress and donate any profit to Shed Aquarium in Chicago for food and care for the rehabilitated green sea turtle named Nickel. Thank you.
Wow, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. I even went on that. I scanned the QR code and I went and I was looking at these additional pictures. There's a bunch of pictures on here of Tress, and man, this thing looks awesome. Erica, have you ever used something like this to kind of de-stress?
I actually do. You can't see it. It's right off camera, but I have something that it is. It's that tactile thing. So I'm with you. It's how that nice soothing touch. It often can make you feel nice and calm. And I have to admit, I have a little bit of a fascination with turtles in my real life. I have turtles everywhere in my house. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to have to check out that QR code as well so I can see more pictures of this.
Wait, you have turtles everywhere in your house, like actual turtles?
No. That would be very complicated and probably messy. No, I have like lots of turtle figurines and turtle stuffed animals and just turtle things. I've been collecting turtles since I was a little kid.
Oh, okay.
Just one of those weird things about me.
So if WMS Stem Solvers makes this product and brings it to market, you'll probably be picking one up, I'm guessing, right?
Oh, I'm first online. I've got to get turtle everything. So yep, for sure. If they bring it to market, I will be there opening day.
Yeah, I love it. I love this whole idea. And I love that whole, I mean, I was a teacher for about 10 years and I know exactly what they're talking about. Some students have real problems, anxiety, things like that this would be very, very helpful with. And wow, what a great project. So congratulations. We're going to move on to our second 6th grade team here. And that is the Invasive Insects Eradication Movement. Now, they're also 6th graders from PS number 28, Krista McCullough School in Jersey City, New Jersey. They're made up of Ryan O'Donnell, Samuel Cummings, Yusuf Ibrahim, and Jair Rodriguez, and their team advisor was Christopher Brown. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Invasive Insects Eradication Movement.
Hello, I'd like to introduce my team members, Samuel, Ryan, Yusuf, and me, Jair. For the past 5 months, we have been fully remote learning and worked together through Zoom on a project based on lanternflies. The reason why we selected the lanternfly as our focus is because it is a very dangerous species to trees. During the summer, Ryan was near Pennsylvania and saw a gypsy moth nest. He wanted to know more about them, so he researched them. However, this is when he read about the spotted lanternfly invasion. During that week, he also saw an advertisement on the city bus saying "Stop the invasion of lanternflies." That is how the project was born.
The current tech available to trap the larva is a net which reaches 5 feet tall. You can also trap them in a jar or stomp them. For egg masses, you would use an everyday scraper into a Ziploc bag. However, these methods won't work for the 80% of egg masses that are high in trees. You would have to climb a ladder in order to scrape the egg masses. I wouldn't recommend this because you could seriously injure yourself if you fall. We have 3 ideas. I like to call them ideas because we never 3D printed them. Idea 1, biodegradable tape. The tape would stick onto the tree, kill the egg masses, and eventually fall off. The following are attached to a 16-foot pole. Idea 2, scraper box. The scraper is scraped down into the box 1 foot below. Idea 3, scraper tunnel underneath. The scraper is scraped down into the tunnel directly underneath. This will then funnel through the pole onto your palm. We designed our models on Tinkercad, self-taught by watching YouTube, and emailed it to our teachers for printing. We repeated this process 3 times. After 4 tries, we created a prototype which is named the Aerial Invasive Egg Remover. It is designed to scrape and collect egg masses high on trees. This prototype scrapes up, then the egg masses will fall into the box below. We attached our prototype to a 16-foot adjustable pole used for swimming pools.
We started testing our scraper using mortar on the side of Ryan's house. Mortar was used as a substitute for real egg masses. The AIER successfully scraped off the mortar in 1 to 2 scrapes. After we tested our scraper on mortar, which most resemble lanternfly egg masses. No lanternfly egg masses are present in our area, but because our tests with mortar and lichens performed successfully, we can hypothesize that our scraper will work on real egg masses. In addition to that, we are working on a prototype design model that will squash adult and larval lanternflies that are high on tree branches. We are in the process of designing this new model. We are yet to 3D print it. The new model will have the same length as the original scraper, but instead of a scraper and a box as the head, it has a roller intended to crush the adults and the larvae. When we are ready to test the scraper and crusher on real egg masses and real adult lanternflies, we can contact authorities in Monroe County, Pennsylvania regarding locating possible infestation sites. Monroe County is the closest lanternfly quarantine area to our school in Jersey City.
I would now like to talk about the benefits to our community. Our team has 12 exchanges with specialists on Twitter. Most are entomologists from across the United States. We were happy that the Entomological Society of America retweeted one of our prototype testing posts. We also got a message from Liberty State Park, and right now we are waiting for a reply from Jersey City's head forester. By March 2021, we had 19.5K impressions on Twitter. We currently have 23.3K impressions. Also, we are planning on releasing our Tinkercad file to the public, so anyone in the world with a 3D printer can print out our prototype to exterminate lanternflies. This was our presentation. I hope you all liked it.
Wow. Well, this is something that hits a little close to home for me. I live in Pennsylvania. Now I live in the western part of the state, and knock on wood, we haven't seen a lot of lanternflies here yet. But with invasive species, they're coming, and it's terrifying. Erica, have you had to deal with any of that?
No. And I'm sorry, I'm still just listening to what they were saying and back in my head. And oh my goodness, I'm glad that they're looking at this, because that invasive insect thing just seems like a lot. It's not good.
Yeah, no, it's not good. They're very damaging species to like the crops and the trees and things like that grow here, and boy, they do a lot of damage. So I'm very hopeful that something like what they're coming up with here is going to be a solution to that, because man, we need a solution, and we need it soon. We need a hero, and I think that's what this team is.
Well, I have to tell you, as a Jersey City girl myself, I fully support the idea that heroes are coming out of Jersey City, New Jersey, because that is my old stomping ground right there. So I was pretty excited to see this team up there representing Jersey City. So that is very, very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to our next team, and that is the Cedar Busters, a 6th grade team from Southcrest Christian Academy in Lubbock, Texas, made up of Jet Hurst, Tori Hay, Justice Jacobus, and Sawyer Means. And their team advisor was Laura Starry. So, ladies and gentlemen, Cedar Busters.
Hello, we're Cedar Busters. I'm Tori, and these are my fellow scientists, Justice, Jet, and Sawyer. We would like to share our story of an amazing environmental journey. Water is our most precious natural resource, and its conservation is critical to ensure thriving communities, agriculture, and other industries. My teammate Justice and I know the firsthand the loss of water from salt cedar stands that lines rivers in the west and on our ranches.
Salt cedar terrace trees grow along riverways, dropping the level of the water table dramatically in over 34 states. In the drought-stricken West, this invasive species threatens the survival of native plants, alters the ecosystem, and diminishes biodiversity. The Fish and Wildlife Service considers salt cedar the most problematic invasive plant and a monster that consumes 200 gallons of water per day per tree. Protecting our waterways and repurposing salt cedar is the goal of Cedar Busters.
We conducted months of research to find current ways of eradicating salt cedar. From ecologists with local universities to biologists with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and specialists in invasive species. We partnered up with experts and studied ways of fighting back. Biological, chemical, and mechanical methods of eradication were possible. Biological control was ruled out because only another invasive species would attack the tree, and we did not want any part of that.
Chemical sprays and mechanical grubbing were applied at my ranch, and last summer we began comparing the results. To our surprise, mechanical grubbing was most effective at 100%. To be sure that chemicals and grubbing methods were not harming the waterway, an index of biotic integrity was conducted, and water quality measurements were taken multiple times as well. Water quality measurements was relatively unaffected by either method, but microinvertebrate diversity was greater with the mechanical method of removal.
Dead salt cedar began piling up. What if we could repurpose the dead wood and find a useful way for dealing with its aftermath? We brainstormed many potential uses for this wood, including mulch, timber-resistant building materials, water softeners, oil absorption sawdust, and even knife handles. As a water softener, the hardness was unaffected, but when ground and used to absorb oil, salt cedar was very effective.
If wood for homes was naturally termite resistant, it would be a win-win situation. Partnering up with Terminix, we use salt cedar in a termite trap placed in locations around the countryside. 4 months later, results showed that termites would not consume salt cedar, and the wood could be another way of preventing these pests. Also, the high salinity of the wood made it a great choice for mulch on hiking trails to stop the emergence of weeds, and we conducted experiments that proved it.
Our team's talents and skills are diverse. We are able to combine web designs, scientific thinking, engineering, and outdoor fieldwork to change our community for the better. Our website and YouTube channel reach a wide audience and promotes the protection of rivers like the Brazos.
Cedar Busters worked together this year not only to find a way to control tamarisk beside rivers, but to find a way to turn tamarisk trash into treasure through the development of mulch, oil-absorbent sawdust, and even termite-controlled landscaping. Finding a balance for native vegetation in times of changing hydrology and climate extremes gives our team plenty to do in the future as citizen scientists. Thank you.
Whoa, another invasive species. Erica, it's like they're everywhere.
Yeah, I'm getting really nervous about this, but I actually do remember when I was a kid, my dad's house having termites, and I'm sure he would have been really excited to have had this research at that time, because I remember that being a very big deal. So it is really incredible, these students who are just finding ways to help in the everyday life. It's just awesome.
I love it. I love the fact that this was in fact dealing with two problems. We've got our invasive species we're dealing with, and we're dealing with termites. I mean, come on, you can't beat that, right? That's fantastic. So well done on that. And hey, everybody, you may have noticed that we slipped past 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, and that means that the voting is open for the People's Choice Award. So go ahead and start voting. Remember those links, you can find those. And all those different places I told you about. We'll remind you about that in just a few moments as well. But now we are going to move on to the next team, which is the Egarbage Sorters, another 6th grade team from Providence Day School in Charlotte, North Carolina, and made up of Anish Ghosh, Brendan Egan, Anand Gaudicharla. And their team advisor is Mark Bartholet. So here we go, Egarbage Sorters.
Egarbage Sorters by Anand, Anish, and Brendan. When you think of major environmental problems, what comes to mind? Global warming, air pollution, littering? Although these are very important environmental problems, a problem that most people don't think of is garbage displacement. Garbage displacement occurs when people fail to put garbage in the right category. For example, if you put recyclable material into the garbage bin or vice versa. So what are the major problems with garbage displacement? Well, what can happen is garbage could be sent to the recycling plant, it can get into the machine, maybe breaking it and causing hundreds or even thousands of dollars to fix. Or the recycling could be sent to the landfill, would not be recycled with no way to be reused in the future. Also, some people can incinerate the trash, which is a good idea and saves space in the landfill, but it releases greenhouse gases into the environment. Our solution. To solve this worldwide problem, we decided to create the garbage sorter. It will be using conveyor belts, a CMOS sensor camera, and a divider or wall to separate the trash. The CMOS sensor is an active pixel sensor where each pixel takes a part of an image and the data on each pixel is read vertically, creating the image.
Our machine works by someone throwing a piece of trash into the opening on the top of the garbage sorter. The trash will then fall onto a conveyor belt, called the main or primary conveyor belt, which will start moving. In the meantime, a CMOS sensor camera will take an image of the trash. This image will be sent to a computer, which will process what category the trash will go in by using machine learning. The computer will send a signal to the motor to turn a gear that will move a gear rack. This gear rack is connected to a wall or border that moves side to side. The wall will then push the trash onto one of the two secondary conveyor belts, one leading to the recycle trash bin and the other leading to the landfill trash bin. These trash bins are accessible from two doors on the top of the machine. This is the top view of the garbage sorter. And this is the side view of the garbage sorter. Here you can see how the wall is connected onto the machine. There are two rods that are connected to the wall, and at the other end of the rods, there are wheels that are inserted into slots, so the wall can be stabilized and moved at the same time.
Our machine will save millions of animals. With newly found research, studies show that over 1 million marine animals die each year from the misplacement of plastic bags, and over 100,000 marine animals get entangled and die from strangulation as well. Terrain animals are in trouble too. Over 100,000 birds and mammals die from asphyxiation due to plastic. This scary predicament is a major problem, which is harming our environment. We estimate that our machine will decrease the number of animals dying from asphyxiation by 30 to 50%. Here we have a graph displaying the amount of plastic that was recycled, discarded, and incinerated from 2000 to 2015. In these 16 years, the amount of plastic being discarded dropped, roughly from 80% to 55%. But plastic being incinerated rose, roughly from 17% to 23%. Thankfully, the amount of plastic being recycled also rose, roughly from 15% to 20%. Our garbage sorting machine will be a huge benefactor for a healthy environment. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Whoa, plastic. Not good. Not a fan of plastic unless I have to lift something or move it somewhere. It's so light, it's so easy to use, and yet it is such a problem for our environment. I can't stand it. This is an excellent thing here.
It's really fantastic. And overall, I applaud the kids in general seem to be leading the way with the plastic and the environmental stuff. I know even in my house, it's my daughter who's 12, who's very involved with making sure we don't have plastic straws and that we're recycling everything properly. So this is really a fantastic project to make sure that we're protecting our environments and our oceans. So well done.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And it's a good thing that the kids are taking the lead, because boy, oh boy, the adults, what are we doing? Come on now, let's get on it. Let's help these kids out, okay? Oof, too much plastic, folks. All right, let's move on to our next team, and that'll be the Purifiers of 2020. Of course, another 6th grade team, a national finalist team from Hyde Park Middle School Academy of Science and Mathematics in Las Vegas, Nevada, and made up of Yashezvi Montri, Anirudh Palagani, Krish Sharma, and Declan Berger, and their team advisor is Judith Kraus. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Purifiers of 2020.
Hello, everyone. We're the Purifiers of 2020, who include myself, Declan,
Krish,
Yashasvi,
and Anirudh.
As you may know, we made a portable and affordable water purification device. After we thought about the most beneficial thing someone could have in an emergency they don't have, we did some research. We found 42% of all people don't have a backup way to get clean water. Then we knew we needed to make a cheap, easy to build water purification device so that everyone could have one in an emergency.
While we were researching, there turned out to be 4 different ways to purify water.
I researched distillation purification. In this method, use sun or heat to evaporate water, then take that vapor and turn it back into water. Unfortunately, it is very slow.
The method I researched is chlorination. It is when you use chemicals to kill bacteria and viruses. Unfortunately, it's also very slow.
I researched filtration purification. In this method, you push water through a microscopic strainer to remove impurities. A problem with this method is it sometimes lets bacteria through.
I researched boiling purification. You get the water hot enough to boil and kill all the bacteria. It's sometimes problematic due to the amount of energy you need. For our final prototype, we use filtration as our main method of purification and also chlorination to further purify the water.
Our filter uses 6 main unique parts: a PVC pipe, a mesh filter, activated carbon, sand, gravel, and bleach.
The first step of the filter is the mesh filter. The mesh filter gets rid of any contaminants that are visible to the naked eye. This consists of rocks, twigs, and big chunks of dirt.
The second part of the purification system consists of cheesecloth, funnel, gravel, sand, activated carbon, and some PVCs. The gravel, sand, and activated carbon will remove any harmful chemicals from the water. The cheesecloth will trap any particles that are mixed in with the water from the few filters above, and the funnel will help regulate the flow of the water through the PVC.
The final part of our water filter is bleach. What bleach does is removes any types of toxic chemicals that are invisible to the naked eye, such as ammonia and nicotine. Since bleach is very acidic, remember to use 2 drops of bleach for every single quart of water.
While we were building our prototype, we came across many challenges. One of the challenges was that the water was going too fast to the second part of our purification system. So we implemented the same structure on a water bottle to find that the water bottle had a cleaner result than our purification system. So we looked at the differences between the two and saw that the water bottle had a funnel-shaped head. So when we added a funnel to our purification system, we had solved that problem.
There's another problem that popped up. Activated carbon was leaving a black residue behind. We added sand to scrape and catch the residue to purify the water even more.
TDS, which stands for total dissolved solids, is the amount of chemicals dissolved in the water. The graph at the top shows the TDS measurements of each test. Since we want clean water, the lower the TDS, the better, and drinking water is in the range of 0 to 100 TDS. Also, these graphs show the amount of bleach that was used and how much water was lost after each test.
These are the materials we used to fabricate the filter. There's still much work to be done right now. Our costs lie around $50, but we're looking into 3D printing to create a much more cost-effective device.
The purifiers of 2020 will work hard to manufacture a market-ready filter and hopefully achieve our goal of everyone in our neighborhoods and communities to have a filter in an emergency event. Thank you for listening, and it would be great if you vote for our team.
Yes, voting. Yeah, they actually asked for votes, so maybe you should vote for them. Folks, we have over 600 votes recorded already. It's only been 15 minutes. Now, I expect that rate to keep up. So we should have at least 7,200 votes by the end of our voting at the end of 3 hours, right, Erica?
I think we definitely should. Everybody needs to get out there and make sure that you're here, letting your voice be heard for your favorite teams. And good job for our purifiers who actually reminded everyone to vote. That's important.
Absolutely. And hey, folks, don't forget to ask your questions that you might have for these teams. We're going to be having a question and answer break after our next team here. So if you have any questions for any of the teams that you've seen so far, go ahead and throw those into the chat there on YouTube, and we will get those answered for you by the experts themselves. And I have to tell you, after watching this last presentation, you know, Erica, as much as I don't like single-use plastic, that's how much I love water. I drink water all the time.
I'm with you. I was listening to theirs, and I have my bottle of water right here with me all the time. You can't really see it because of my background. But yeah, that's such a huge thing. And to be able to have those filters in emergency situations is really incredible, and really would just be something that could make or break the difference in a lot of those environments and in a lot of those situations. So really well done, well thought out.
Absolutely. I think I can say without hyperbole, if I didn't have water, I would die. I think that's definitely true of you know,
everyone.
Yeah, everyone. All right, let's move on to our next team, and that is a STEM in Action grant winning team, the Microwaves. They are a 6th grade team from St. Barnabas Episcopal School in DeLand, Florida, and they are made up of Evelyn Cifuentes, Madison Calloway, and their team advisor is Susan Cifuentes. So here's the STEM in Action grant winning team, the Microwaves.
If you click on it.
Oh, my name is Madison. Package theft is a crime of opportunity. Porch pirates steal easily visible packages from your doorstep. It only takes a few seconds to steal a package with a single individual disguised carrying a package or paperwork.
We're not hearing anything, so I'm not sure if maybe there's a problem on the microphone end, but just so you're aware, we cannot hear you right now.
Can they hear you?
I don't know.
Ask if they can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Evie, come in. Let's start.
All right, please hold as we deal with these technical difficulties. Just be aware you are still muted at this point.
I am so sorry. How big is this problem? $5.4 billion were lost in 2020. 1.7 million packages are stolen per day. The average cost per package stolen is $140. Only 50% of people have taken precautions against thieves, and 42% of people don't buy certain items for fear of theft. Finally, only 10% of thieves get arrested.
The next screen.
It's
Okay. Say it doesn't appear to be going to the next screen.
yeah, it doesn't appear to be going to the next screen.
Okay, that's okay. Just use this and talk.
Okay. Our inspiration for the product. Mark Rober created a glitter bomb that has multiple deterrents, including biodegradable glitter, hidden cameras, and fake police walkie-talkie sounds. We watched one of his videos and became inspired to create a product that is commercially available. Mark B. Rober is a former NASA and Apple engineer and now creates videos for his YouTube channel.
The effect of theft is a huge problem in every community, leaving law enforcement, retailers, and customers to pay for the cost of package theft. Replacing packages when you need them is very difficult and can leave homeowners feeling less secure.
Our development. First, we started out by sketching ideas on whiteboards. Then we created small and large-scale prototypes made out of foam board. Finally, we made our final product out of wood.
Our solution to package theft is an 18-inch box made of stained wood and disguised as a low-cost planter box. The planter box is customizable for holidays and hides deliveries from plain view.
Characteristics and positive features. Our box is lighter and more attractive compared to other boxes on the market. Our box looks like a planter, which makes it less appealing for thieves. The base and top wood are both customizable, and it does not say place packages here, which can attract a thief. Flowers are removable, and the box can open and close. It also has wooden legs for support and to prevent mildew.
Amazon allows customers to leave delivery instructions when ordering, such as leave package in planter box.
Our future developments and plans. We would like to waterproof it and stain and seal the legs and corners of the box. We would like tub inserts and to change the handle to knob handles. We would like to add rubber bumpers, and we may consider redesigning to open on the side. We would reinforce the bottom for additional strength, and we may consider additional sizing.
There are other existing solutions to prevent package theft, including requiring signatures, using Amazon delivery lockers, leaving packages in hidden areas, or having packages delivered to friends, family, or your workplace.
Follow our progress and find out more info at our website. Our website is porchfirefoxes.com. It is still in development, and we'll have our slides on the website.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Microwaves, and thank you for powering through I know when you hit technical glitches like that, sometimes it can just be overwhelming, but you did a great job of continuing on and continuing to tell us about this awesome invention. I mean, this is great. I'm very fortunate. I've not had a package stolen off of my porch that I'm aware of. Anyway, Erica, has that ever happened to you?
Oh yeah, no, you're super lucky. I've had lots of things taken off of my porch, and I'm really excited that this team kept going and got through this, because I am really excited to find out more about your project and to check out your website, because I had the most beautiful pair of earrings disappear once, and when I went back, they were sold out. And that was really upsetting. And yeah, this is a huge thing, especially now when so much is done by online shopping. This is really fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and also I'm learning that I'm not spending enough on packages. The average cost is $140. I most of the packages I have showing up are 10, 15 bucks, something like that. So I gotta start spending a little bit more. I mean, get this economy going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you have to catch up. My problem with online shopping is it makes it just too easy. I was buying 4th of July decorations this morning before we started, and next thing I knew, I was probably at $110. I'm going to have to cut that back a little bit. I think that's too many 4th of July decorations, even for me this year.
No, come on. There's no such thing. No such thing, Erica.
That's true. That is true. I need a new hat.
Well, well, there you go. We're gonna take a little break now, like I said, for some Q&A, and we do have a question, and it's coming in for the Egarbage Sorters. So Egarbage Sorters, listen up. Here's a question for you, and the question is: have you begun the process of implementing this Egarbage Sorter into your local community yet? And if so, what has the response been? And if not, do you plan to?
Yeah, so we have not actually implemented this into our community. We've only made designs because we did not have access to any 3D printers. But we've made some plans on how we'll get it into the real world soon.
Excellent stuff. Well, there you go. And hey, folks, if you've got some 3D printers available, get in touch with Egarbage Sorters. They could use them to get this this amazing invention off the ground. So that would be fantastic. A reminder, once again, everybody, vote, vote, vote. People's Choice Award. Voting is open. It has been open for almost half an hour now, and it will be open for another 2.5 hours until 1:30. So please make sure that you do get that voting done.
So it looks like we might have another question. For the microwaves, I guess it looks like, have you been able to see your box work in action? So have you come across anyone that were unable to steal due to your project being on their front porches? Have you been testing this out at all?
Can you repeat the question?
So have you been able to test out your project at all, your box, see if it people from stealing anything? Have you put one on your own porch and tried to break into it or anything?
Yeah, we put it on our porch, and the Amazon drivers have successfully been able to put our delivery in the box.
Very, very cool. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. And I've just got an update. We are up to 1,200 votes at this point. So you are keeping up the pace. 600 every 15 minutes. I expect that to keep up all the way to 130, folks. So don't let me down, okay?
That is incredible. All right, Matt, you think we're ready to move on to our 7th graders?
I know I'm ready.
All right, I'm ready too. So next we're going to have our 7th grade teams, and they're going to present. This year, our 7th graders were supported by non-commissioned officers, Sergeant First Class Michael Keller of the U.S. Army Public Health Center and Sergeant First Class Tonio Pierce of the U.S. Army DevCom Data and Analysis Center. And they were also supported by STEM mentor, Ms. Shannon Turner from the U.S. Army DevCom Armaments Center. So our first team up for the 7th grade are from Francis Granger Middle School in Aurora, Illinois. They are team members Nidhi Sagaram, Viraj Vyas, Samil Sharma, and team advisor Sonal Vyas, and they are Team Viridian Blue.
Hi, we're Team Viridian Blue from Granger Middle School. I'm Samil with my teammates Nidhi and Viraj. Right now we're in a pandemic. Although this one was caused by a virus, you never know what the next one could be caused by. So there's a fungal infection. We learned that fungal diseases kill over 1.5 million people per year. Yet unlike viral and bacterial infections, they carry very few medicines and cures to them. We wanted to find a way to rid fungi in places where these threats exist, mainly in third world countries in South Asia. Our goal is to create an eco-friendly fungi killer using natural products in place of chemicals. We asked ourselves questions like, are there harmful fungi in water? Are there antifungal properties in plants and can they purify water? And what fungi can we test with? To answer these questions, we read articles from the CDC, NIH, and other reputable sources, and talked to 3 experts in areas of microbiology and Ayurveda. Based on our research, we discovered that there is harmful fungi in water. We also identified 5 inexpensive plants with high antifungal properties which were native to our chosen community. These were okra, cilantro, holy basil, neem, and Indian gooseberry. Dr. Wilson, an expert on microbiology from UIUC, Illinois, advised us to use yeast instead of fungi as it was the safer option. I'm now going to turn it over to Nidhi to explain our engineering design process.
Thanks, Emil, for going over the problem and our research. We created green nectar from a combination of the 3 best herbs selected after a preliminary test. We sterilized the materials, chopped the plants, placed them individually in a blender, strained the juice out of the pulp, and combined the parts together to make our prototype. Our testing process consisted of a series of steps. First, we inoculated yeast using a cup warm water, a teaspoon brown sugar, and a teaspoon yeast powder. We inoculated yeast on an agar plate to initiate the growth. Next, we did 1 to 10, 100, and 1,000 dilutions of yeast to total liquid plus green nectar to decrease yeast concentration, making it easy to count the colonies. Then we drip plated 2 drops to form evenly distributed colonies. Later, we left the plates in a homemade incubator for 4 days at a constant temperature to promote the growth of the microbes. Finally, we counted the colony forming units, or CFUs. We calculated the efficacy of our prototypes by using the formula shown below. Using this to find the average percentage of CFUs killed. Using this data, we then created graphs to help with comparing the 3 prototypes. We analyzed the data collected. C1 was 61% effective, C2 had a 77% efficacy rate, and C3 was 51% effective. We concluded that C2's combination of okra, neem, and Indian gooseberry was the most effective in all 3 combinations and dilutions. Now, over to you, Viraj.
Thanks, Nidhi. This diagram depicts our engineering process. We researched a problem and identified solutions to create our prototype. After testing the prototype multiple times, we analyzed our data to conclude our best solution was C2. We chose third world countries in South Asia, such as India, Myanmar, Thailand, and Bangladesh, our community. Inhabitants of these countries often struggle to find ways to consume water free of contaminants while assaulted by endemic fungal diseases. Some of the most dangerous infections are tularemycosis and Candida auris, which are major concerns in these countries. We affected our city of Aurora by meeting the mayor and his directors of water. While meeting with them, they revealed our city's water supply is not surveyed for fungi and that they would search the water content immediately. We created an antifungal solution that rids water of fungi. We proved that our solution, green nectar, kills fungi in contaminated water and helps prevent infections. Our solution will impact millions of people in our community and by giving them access to potable water while reducing healthcare costs and deaths from fungal infections. COVID-19 affected our project by forcing us to collaborate online via Google Meet. We assigned roles based on our strengths. Samil excels in research, so he was in charge of researching plants and incubating the agar plates. Nidhi is curious and attentive and hence responsible for creating the prototypes and testing. I'm gifted in communication and love STEM, and therefore accountable for outreach and growing yeast. To conclude, green nectar, the product we designed and tested, effectively killed fungi using native herbs that are cost-effective, accessible, and eco-friendly. Finally, we want to thank ECyber Mission for this amazing opportunity and splendid experience. Thank you.
Wow, that was a great job, Viridian Blue. And I have to tell you, the idea of being able to address the fungus that can be contaminating the water supplies, that is such an important project. I mean, Matt, you were talking before about we all need water. So, I mean, this is a pretty incredible project, again, to be working with.
That's true. That's true. I thought you were going to bring up the fact that I hate fungus.
I didn't know you hated fungus.
Yeah, also something that's known about me. I mean, I'm famous for hating fungus, and I won't even eat a mushroom. That's how far I'll go on fungus. So I feel like this is fantastic. And also, you know, I'm also terrified, like after all of this COVID pandemic and everything, terrified of diseases. So the idea that we're addressing this before they happen, that just sounds amazing to me. So that's a great project.
It is. I agree. It's fantastic. Although I will admit, I did not know about your longstanding fear of fungi. But I will make a note of it so that I never bring you a mushroom pizza.
Erica, you know, you've got to start following me on social media. I mean, that's what I'm known for. That's my thing.
Sure thing. I will make sure to make a note. Well, great job, team. We're going to move on to our next group of 7th graders now. And our next team are here both as STEM in Action grant recipients and as national finalists. They are from Rachel Carson Middle School in Herndon, Virginia. They are team members Warsha Gunda and Veda Multi and team advisor Sharmila Multi. And they are the sequestrators.
Good morning, I'm Veda Murthy.
And I'm Varsha Gunda.
We are the sequestrators, solving the most consequential threat facing humanity, increasing carbon emissions. In 2019, about 36.8 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide was produced globally. Urban cities accounted for more than 70% of global CO2 emissions. Excess carbon emissions have a global aftermath, including extreme weather events and irreversible damage in our ecosystems. According to Dr. Thamala, this problem has caused a steady increase in health ailments such as asthma and allergies in our Northern Virginia community. Fragile ecosystems such as our Chesapeake Bay region are now facing ecological and economic impacts due to ocean acidification. We need a solution to reduce and absorb the copious amounts of CO2 liberated now.
Our question was, how is carbon sequestered in the environment? Our research led to carbon sinks, which are natural or artificial reservoirs that absorb and store CO2. Soil is an essential carbon sink, storing more than 2,500 gigatons of carbon globally through the microorganisms in the soil. Due to urbanization, topsoil is being excavated, releasing captured CO2.
There is an immediate need to reduce the carbon footprint in urban environments. Our goal was to take a two-pronged approach. First, by creating carbon sinks by utilizing lawns and gardens, and second, by increasing awareness in our community. In order to achieve this, we researched CO2-absorbing materials. We found zeolite, a natural aluminum silicate mineral used in industries to absorb carbon dioxide. To make our solution more cost-effective, we researched additional CO2 absorbers to coat the zeolite and add nutrients to the soil, such as cow manure and clay. We designed 2 experiments to determine which material will make the most effective carbon sink.
First, we wanted to test the CO2 absorption capacity of zeolite, zeolite in clay, and zeolite in cow manure, which are independent variables, and their effect on the CO2 levels at 3 depths of the soil, since we need these carbon deposits to last long. We used the pH test to analyze our data as CO2 reacts with water to form the weak carbonic acid H2CO3, which we then use to indicate the pH value.
We found that zeolite and cow manure had an average pH value of 6 and absorbed the most carbon dioxide. We used the chi-squared test to measure statistical significance. Our observed values were the data from the experiments, and the expected values were the only soil or control values. Our results were statistically significant.
Our second experiment was the effects of the CO2 absorbing materials on the quality of our grass growth in our lawns. We measure the grass growth, the density, the shoot root length, as well as the soil quality.
We concluded that zeolite and clay was the best material for grass quality and observed grass growth of 7.5 inches in just 10 days. We used the chi-square test here as well.
Zeolite and Calmanor had the highest CO2 absorption capacity, while zeolite and clay had the highest quality of grass growth. Through our experiments, we developed an innovative solution to absorb the excess CO2. We plan to produce our solution, carbon sink pellets, out of zeolite, clay, and Calmanor, as all three of these coating materials have vital nutrient properties. We validated our experiment and solution with soil scientists Ms. Palmer and Mr. Schwartz from Nova Soil and Water District.
We distributed the carbon sink pellets to neighbors who were delighted to try it out in their own lawns. Through the STEM in Action grant, we plan on implementing our solution in schools, county gardens, and globally. We brought awareness about this issue by sharing it with their teachers and classmates. We made websites and brochures to spread awareness as well. Check out our website at www.sequestrators.com and get involved in reducing the carbon footprint.
Due to the COVID pandemic, we mainly collaborated online using online collaboration tools.
Carbon emissions are an immense issue in the environment, and we wanted to fix this issue at a grassroots level. Our carbon sink pellets is a compact, cost-effective, and an eco-friendly alternative to commercial fertilizers. It can potentially make every lawn and urban carbon sink, essentially empowering you and every citizen to reduce the carbon footprint. Thank you. Please vote for our team.
Thank you.
All right, great job. So that was a pretty incredible thing. I live near the Chesapeake Bay, and I understand entirely just the increase in allergies, the increase in asthma from the increased CO2 emissions is something really dangerous. And once again, we've got these incredible kids taking on the environment. And I'm starting to really feel better about our future. Aren't you, Matt?
I am. You know, I've come out strong against single-use plastic and fungus here. But I gotta say, extra carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, oof, that's right up there, man. Maybe right below fungus, maybe above. I don't know. I might have to reevaluate my whole thing because, boy, I don't like either of those things. And I love the fact that we've got these amazing teams that are dealing with these issues. So sequestrators, fantastic stuff.
Yes, I can tell you I have a big garden in my backyard. And so I know what I'm doing this weekend. I'm going to be trying to figure out how to create my own carbon sink so that we can get on helping out with this big problem.
I mean, talk to these amazing students right here. Just send them a message.
Find out if you can get
their stuff. Go to their website.
I'm going to have to do that because
come on now.
Just knowing way more about any of this than I do. So I'm taking notes as you guys all explain your project so that I know what I have to do this weekend. So this is fantastic. So we're going to move on to our next group of 7th graders. And our next team came together with a community group called Science Rocks U, and they're in Levelland, Texas. They are Felipe DeFarias, Briley Siemens, Emma Kirby, and team advisor Melanie DeFarias, and they are H2O Below.
Good morning, I'm Emma, and these are my H2O Below STEM partners, Felipe and Briley. Our team members live in 2 different communities. Both communities are known as farming areas. Since 2 of our members are closely tied to agriculture, we know that farmers face hardships, and we are aware of the water retention problem. This problem not only affects our communities, but it affects every person and every community in the world.
One of the greatest issues on the planet is the health of the Earth's soil. When soil health deteriorates, the amount of food being produced decreases. Since the world relies on topsoil for growing 95% of the world's food, it is one of the most important parts of the food system. Unfortunately, in the last 150 years, almost half of the productive topsoil in the world has disappeared. Soil health is defined in several ways, but one staple of soil health is water retention. The water holding capacity of soil has decreased throughout much of America's prime cropland, and poor soil conditions due to drought can be seen. In the US, cropland is eroding 10 times faster than it can be restored. According to the United Nations, unless this trend is reversed, the Earth could be devoid of topsoil in 60 years. Let me say that again. There may not be topsoil for growing food in 60 years.
Because of that, our group saw a need to help reduce the amount of water used to sustain important food crops for our world. Based on the problem of drought and soil dryness throughout much of America's prime cropland, our team asked the questions. How can soil moisture be retained in agricultural areas undergoing drought situations? And can a device for measuring soil moisture be engineered in such a way that farmers or home gardeners could use this on a daily basis to monitor ground conditions and optimize the conservation of water?
Extensive research and collaboration with experts led us to focus on improving soil moisture through additives. We collected soil from different regions and learned about their properties. We built a bioreactor to produce compost on steroids, made biochar and fire pits, and obtained cotton mulch, made from the waste of our region's cotton crops. We set up tests and measured water moisture based on the effects of drought. Our hypothesis stated that if compost is added to the soil, then it will increase the amount of moisture and lead to higher germination rates and plant growth when compared to biochar and cotton mulch.
We programmed a moisture sensor using the Arduino and tested multiple times to learn that compost was most effective in the lab. Cotton mulch excelled in field tests, but both were far superior in holding soil moisture. With all the evidence that soil and agriculture can hold water, we started educating local farmers, seeking a $10,000 grant through Lead for Change for the purchase of moisture meters for our area farmers.
We wanted a project with local application and with opportunities for global change. Higher moisture levels have been proven to provide healthier crops and benefit both producers and consumers in our communities. Outreach involved posters, brochures, environmental summits, presentations, a website, and training farmers across many communities and states. Australia and Brazil were global partners, leading to changes in agricultural methods worldwide. We will continue to spread the word about monitoring soil moisture and providing simple processes for a solution to a complex global issue. This mission is only the beginning. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. That was incredible. And I have to tell you, as much as Matt does not like fungi, is how much I do love fresh vegetables and fresh crops and all those things. And I can't believe the idea that we would be out of topsoil to grow these things within 60 years. That's really terrifying to me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I started to do the math on it to figure out how old I'll be in 60 years. And I was like, well, I might not need to worry about this, but gosh, I have a daughter who's 5 years old, like, and there's other people who are even younger. And gosh, I hope that people are around a lot more than 60 more years. So we're going to need to do something about this, right?
All these teams are hopefully going to be around a lot longer than 60 years. So yeah, we're going to need to get on fixing this. And once again, we have a group of amazing young scientists and engineers looking at ways to improve our environment and save our planet. So this is really exciting stuff today.
It is.
So we're going to move to our next team, and they are from Charlotte Latin School in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they are Ananya Banerjee, Isabel Yang, Angelina Yang, and Barbara Morrow, and they are the three Mudsketeers.
Hello, I'm Ananya.
I'm Isabel.
I'm Angelina. We are the three Mudsketeers from Charlotte Latin School, and today we're going to introduce our project involving alternative energy sources.
Communities worldwide, specifically those greatly lacking electricity, need a clean energy source as fossil fuels are detrimental to the earth. Fossil fuels account for over 80% of U.S. energy needs. Studies show that burning them causes air pollution, water pollution, climate change, and more. It is also linked to serious illness and 3.6 million deaths worldwide in 2015, as shown in the bar charts. To help solve this problem, we investigated mud as a possible alternative energy source.
We completed reputable research on fossil fuels, chemical composition, reaction, and bacterial biomass energy. We also interviewed climate scientist Dr. Ankur Desai from the University of Wisconsin, who explained the climate-related issues of burning fossil fuels. From these interactions, we blend an energy-efficient and cost-effective solution.
A microbial fuel cell is a compact vessel that allows bacteria in most function. Bacteria interact with the electrodes in anaerobic conditions. They oxidize and reduce organic molecules, accumulating electrons in a process called anaerobic respiration. When transferred to the anode, a negative electric potential environment is created. To generate electricity, the electrons must transfer to a positive potential environment. Therefore, electricity is established when it reaches oxygen in the atmosphere.
Prototypes 1 to 3 aim to find the most electricity-productive mud sample. We tested voltage, current, and resistance over 14 to 22 days by comparing various locations, acidity, temperature, and additives. In Prototype 1, we built a miniature MFC with purchased garden soil. Voltage only appeared on day 5 and rose to 10 millivolts before we discontinued testing. We concluded that the soil type caused the low voltage due to its chemical properties such as a synthetic fertilizer, which inhibited bacterial growth.
For Prototype 2, we hypothesized that changing the mud sample to forest soil will result in major exoelectrogenic biomass growth. Factors such as animal waste and increased moisture equate to a greater chance of bacteria. We also added a sugar solution, which we theorized would be an effective electron donor. Prototype 2's voltage rose more quickly and notably than Prototype 1's, reaching 200 millivolts by day 22.
In Prototype 3, we tested mountain soil with a sugar solution supplemented every week. We chose this as we needed a contrasting sample to Prototypes 1 and 2. Voltage increased slower, but steadier than Prototype 2's, reaching 170 millivolts by day 22.
After comparing all 3 mud samples, we chose Prototype 2's mud forest soil for our final prototype because of its fast growth and efficiency with the sugar solution. Our final prototype focused on using the MFC to light an Arduino LED circuit. We applied all adjustments from earlier models and built a new MFC sized up by 300% using schematics.
We also made our electrodes with activated carbon on stainless steel mesh by weaving PTFE wire through the mesh and applying epoxy to secure the carbon. This was done to ensure conductivity and to improve our design from the initial layout with graphite fiber.
Unfortunately, we ran out of time before generating enough energy to light the LED. But following the trend in voltage, we predicted that with consistent sugar solution boosts, it would only take a few more weeks to power the external LED with 2.5 to 3 volts. Our solution met our criteria and constraints with a lightweight, well-structured fuel cell chamber. The Arduino system can successfully power other devices as well.
In the future, if several MFCs are used, we'd be able to light an LED in much less time. If 500 MFCs are used, we'd produce nearly 2,000 volts of electricity. MFCs are also more reasonably priced than existing solutions such as wind and solar, only costing $50 to $100.
Our MFC produces electricity, benefits the earth and economy, and preserves overconsumed energy sources. We hope our solution can join the fight against fossil fuels and provide a cleaner and more accessible source of energy for our environment, our health, and a greater future. If this interests you, please vote for the 3 Musketeers. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you to the 3 Musketeers. That was really incredible. I love the idea of a dirt cheap solution. That was fantastic. And you know what? All of these 7th grade teams so far have inspired me, Matt. Yeah. I know the whole idea behind ECyber Mission is to find a problem and solve it. So I have a problem that I think I've solved. So we've got all of these environmental issues. I think the way we solve that is we get all of these students together and we just put them in charge. We put them in charge of all of this.
Sure.
And I think that solves the problem. I think we've taken care of all of this right here this morning.
No, I think that that's a great idea. In fact, I think what we should do is in the future, get them all to one physical location together for like a week or something like that, just to be around each other, and they can talk about their projects and set up booths and maybe be judged and go see
that
DC.
would be fantastic. We should do something exactly like that.
Yeah.
Next year, maybe.
Yeah, maybe next year. Exactly.
Let's start working on that.
let's get them all together in one room and just have them, work through a bunch of these problems as quickly as they can. That'd be great. Or take their time. That's good too. As long as they solve them, I'm kind of down. Or you know what? I don't even need them to solve the problem, because that'd be the engineering side, right? Solving the problem. If they want to just explore or investigate more and do more science on this, answer some questions first, and then try to solve the problems, I'm good with that too. So I say we go either way.
Yeah, I think all of this is brilliant, but I think these kids are going to figure all of this out. I think they've got it in hand. They're already working towards it. And I am really, really excited about all of it. And I'm excited about our next team too. They're going to join us right now. And our next team are both STEM in Action grant recipients and a national finalist team. They're joining us from Odyssey Middle School in Camas, Washington. And they are Rafael Lavanino, Tinzin Kelsang, and team advisor Ian Lavanino. And they are the Alligators.
Hello, my name is Tenzin Kelsang. My teammate Rafa Lavagino and I built a prototype algae filtering system that filters algae from the lake. My friend Rafa and I enjoy spending time outdoors and especially swimming in Lacamas Lake. However, the lake is closed most of the time due to the overgrowing algae. Currently, there is not a system in place to filter algae off of Lacamas Lake. This can cause drastic issues to the lake and the surrounding areas as well as to the people. The levels of toxicity in the blue-green algae can cause a serious health hazard to people who come into contact with it. The algae causes flu-like symptoms, seizures, respiratory arrest, liver failure, and in some serious cases, even death. Algae grew in the lake due to the amount of phosphates and nitrates in the water, and because there are more sunny days than usual. This can mean weeks to months of closure with no swimming, fishing, or boating. As shown here, there are systems at water treatment facilities that use chemicals such as copper sulfate to kill algae, which come from rainwater that collects fertilizers from gardens. There used to be stationary biofilters along the shore, but they were not maintained and are no longer functional. Biofilters use microbes in grasses and reeds that filter dirty water and convert it into clear, usable water with the byproduct of carbon dioxide, which plants quickly soak up. Our solution is a mobile algae filtering system while others are large and stationary. Our solution uses amphibious RC vehicles that are propelled by a motor or a boat. Our solution will clean up blooms after the algae grows.
For our filter, this is our dual filtration system to prevent clogging from. It uses this system to prevent clogging from larger particles. It is composed of a submersible water pump, some plumbing connectors, and 2 filters, one fine and one coarse. For propulsion, we have 2 small RC amphibious vehicles. Soon, these will be replaced with larger motors because these vehicles are not really able to push the filter system. For our battery, we are using a 12-volt battery to power our pump, which gives us a long battery life as well as battery dependability. For our floating platform and subframe, we are using a plastic frame with spider arms and some pool noodles, as well as a clear plastic Tupperware box for our main body. Underneath that, we have 4 PVC beams connected with a quad PVC connector and sealed with some pipe sealant. Our filter, battery, safety and tow line, and our robots are all connected to this with zip ties, glue, and tape, as well as other adhesives. We tested the filters by putting them through a few different tests. The first was a clarity test. We put an iTron on one side of the Tupperware tub, and then we put a filter over top of the tub. Then we poured a mixture of half a cup of sawdust to 4 cups of water. Once settled, we poured the mixture through the filter and into the tub. Once the water had settled, about 10 minutes, we looked through the side to see what we could see. The second way we tested the filter is by putting a picture frame around the middle of the tub and counting the particles inside the frame. After testing the filters, we moved to the pumps. We used a different size tub for each test. Our results may have been skewed by that. However, after looking at each pump's performance without sawdust, we decided that the medium-sized pump would work best because it was not going to require us to hold the drill like the drill pump, and it could get good water flow through it, unlike the small pump. We believe that, with some work, our prototype could be a viable solution to a problem that has plagued this area of Washington for many years. Once solved, this solution will help the lake be a place of gathering for many years to come, for both people and returning wildlife. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That was really amazing, Alligators. And I just, once again, with this approach, first of all, the blue-green algae, I had no idea that it was that dangerous. And that is something that really was startling to me, all of the problems that it can cause. Matt, were you familiar with that? Were you aware of that?
I mean, I knew a little bit about it because I taught AP Environmental Science for about 10 years. So we did talk about it. I have not had direct contact. So I did, but and I didn't know the details here, but I do know how important our waterways are, our lakes, our rivers, our streams, everything along those lines. Very important to the health of our of everything, of our ecosystems and everybody everywhere. So I feel like that's an incredibly important thing to be investigating.
For sure. And yeah, unlike you, I haven't had that. So being able to listen to all of this information and understand not only how big the problems are, but these incredible solutions that these teams are looking at that are often low cost and able to be implemented in local areas. It's really amazing. And I'm really excited for the education that I'm getting today. So this is great.
Yeah. And I hope our viewers feel the same way. And I hope that they're really understanding that this is kind of what ECyber Mission is all about, looking at these big problems and trying to explore them or find solutions to them through science or engineering. I mean, that's what it's all about, folks. And that is what these teams have done. And that is why they are our national finalists and STEM and Action Grant winners, because they're doing it, man. They're hitting it out of the park, to use a baseball reference.
I agree completely. Although I will say this to our friends and family who are watching out there, if you're like me and don't necessarily have all sorts of experience in some of these subject areas, and you have questions for our experts, don't forget to be putting them into the chat, because we're going to have another Q&A session after our next team, who's going to be our last 7th grade team to present. So make sure you're asking those questions in the chat and we'll get to them. In the meantime, we now have our final 7th grade team, and they are a STEM in Action grant recipient. They are the Bay Sea Scouts Incorporated from Bay Village, Ohio. They are team members Paul Moody, Joseph Beauchance, Hannah Bergman, and Layla Moe, with team advisor Richard Gash, and they are tires.
Hello, my name is Hannah.
My name is Paul.
My name is Layla.
My name is Joe, and we are Team Tires.
Coming from 3 different schools and not meeting in person due to COVID, we had to use emails and Doodle to arrange Zoom meetings. But it helped that we knew each other through Sea Scouts.
Did you know that tires generate about 1.8 million tons of microplastic particles per year? This fact is according to an article in the National Geographic of September 2019. Kim Jardin, a scientist at Goodyear Tire and Rubber, told us in a Zoom meeting that 15 to 20% of these particles end up polluting our rivers and lakes, which is a big concern to our community because our storm drains empty right into the lake.
As a team, we decided to investigate and see if we could make our community aware of this pollution problem and if there was a solution to help reduce it.
To research, we used Google and then compared our notes to find the scope of the problem. Most of the news was recent and published in 2020. A study at the University of Washington found a chemical in tires that is killing the coho salmon. Scientific studies have discovered that fish are digesting the microplastic particles. Since fish are part of our diet, we too have these tiny plastic particles in us. It doesn't get better from there, Layla.
The use of SUVs and the coming of electric cars because of their increased weight and friction on the road will add to this microplastic pollution.
Our Zoom with Mrs. Jardin, a scientist at Goodyear, helped us better understand what has to be done to reduce tire wear.
To put it simply, correct tire pressure, regularly rotate your tires, and replace bald tires or tires with 2/32 of an inch depth. When we visited our local tire shop and talked with the service technicians, they agreed that maintaining your tires results in longer tire wear and longer tire life and better tire wear. We each, with our dad's help, checked the tires on our family cars. A recent sudden cold spell resulted in many tires being underinflated. Say it was 50 degrees, and a couple days later, the temperature dropped to below 30, which would have dropped the tire pressure down by 2 to 4 psi.
Tire monitoring systems in cars are not to be relied on and often don't activate until too low, but new technologies with intelligent tires is coming from racing cars.
Intelligent tires have a microchip installed in them that connects their Bluetooth to give the tire pressure and temperature.
To alert our community and provide best practices, we published an article detailing our findings in our local newspaper. We had many encouraging responses.
A positive response to our community involvement was the sight of the city road sweeper in action shortly after the article was published. Thank you, ECyber Mission, for providing us this opportunity to research and highlight something that most people take for granted, their tires. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Team Tires. That was incredible. And you're absolutely right. I completely take the tires on my car for granted until something happens to one of them. And then I'm in a panic trying to figure out how I am going to get wherever it is I need to go. So this is a really, really great reminder that I need to be paying better attention to that. Matt, are you paying attention to your tires?
I mean, I try to, I try to give them all the attention that they need, because I feel like if you don't pay attention to your tires, they're gonna, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna turn on you. They're not gonna do what you want them to do. They're gonna go flat. They're gonna burst. But this whole idea that they're contributing microplastics, I had no idea about that. Like, we stopped using all of those body scrubs and things like that as soon as we found out that there were little plastic beads in them. Now I got to figure out, like, do I get rid of my tires? Maybe like, maybe I start using those wood wheels on wagons again or something along those lines. Just something, stop putting those microplastics into the environment, man. That's bad news.
That is very bad news, though. I don't know how far you have to drive to get to work each day. I don't know how good wooden wheels would be as an alternative. But
yeah, that's true.
Maybe I could learn how to roller skate again.
I'll have to do some investigating. You know what I'm saying? I'll have to do some use some scientific investigations and figure it out.
For sure. Maybe you could do an ECyber Mission project next year and you can figure out how to fix our tires.
There we go. All I need to, oh, wait, Erica, I'm not in 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th grade anymore.
You're right. You're not.
I mean, just barely not. I mean,
I only missed it by a few years.
Yeah, just a couple of years. Just a couple of years. Yeah.
Well, I want everybody out there in watching land to give another silent round of applause to all our 7th grade teams. Those were incredible. We had some really, really amazing topics and some amazing work that you all did. And we have some questions for all of you. So our first questions are for the alligators. So alligators, here's the question. What shocked you most when you were creating your filtration system? And what discoveries did you make that might have caused a speed bump in your process? So what do you think, alligators?
I mean, I think the thing that most surprised me, at least, probably was kind of like what people are doing to filter algae, like what different places are doing. So water treatment facilities, what we already had in place, the biofilters. It was kind of interesting to learn about those things. It was kind of shocking to see what has happened to them over time with maybe not as good maintenance or other things like that.
That is great. Thank you for answering that. And Matt, I have to tell you, people are agreeing with the idea that if you don't pay attention to your tires, they'll turn on you. So thank you for reminding us of that, Matt.
They'll turn on you with driving.
Yeah. We've got another question in the chat though, and that is for Team Viridian Blue. So Team Viridian Blue, did you experience any challenges, especially studying these fungal diseases that are more prevalent in Southeast Asia and not in the United States?
Yeah, we definitely did have a lot of challenges during our project, especially with researching these fungal diseases. Fungal diseases are a relatively new topic in terms of major threats, and considering that most of these were in South Asia and not like in more predominant countries such as the USA, we had a lot harder time finding out information and research about them. And that was a pretty big roadblock that we had along the way, but we were able to overcome that and get enough data to gauge how big of a problem fungal diseases are, especially in these communities.
Wow, that's incredible. And kudos to you for looking at a global problem like that, all of these teams. That's really, really incredible work. So Matt, you will be happy to know that the people who are watching are keeping pace with voting, it seems, because at last count, we have 2,200 People's Choice Award votes.
Actually, you know what? A new number just came in. We're up to 2,600 votes, Erica.
Look at that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, keep it coming. That is really exciting. So 2,600 votes. I'm curious. Which team thinks they're going to win? Hands up. All the hands should be up because you are all awesome. If I were allowed to vote for all the teams, I would.
Absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't want to get that vote? I do see that one more question has snuck in just under the wire here. We were just about to jump into 8th grade, but I do see one more question, and that's for Team Tires. So Team Tires, here's a question for you. What will you do with your STEM in Action grant money?
Well, we have already purchased tire pressure gauges and tire depth gauges, and we're going to be handing those out to the public. Basically, we're gonna give them to people so they can make sure they take care of their tires.
That is very, very cool. And definitely giving people the tools they need to solve these problems is a huge part of it. So well done.
For sure. Yeah. If you don't know about it, you can't try to fix it, right? So very good stuff. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, 7th grade, once again. And you know what? I want to say, like you said a silent round of applause, Erica. I want people to make some noise because these teams are all over the country. So who knows? There could be somebody right down the street from you right now. So let's hear it. Let's really hear, like, start banging those hands together for that applause. You know what I'm saying? Like, start yelling and screaming. And if people start to ask you what's going on, just say, hey man, ECyber Mission National Showcase, you're not watching? What's the deal? So maybe you'll alert some folks to this amazing presentation that's going on as well. All right, we're going to move on to our 8th grade teams. Now, our 8th graders worked with some mentors as well. They worked with the NCO's Sergeant First Class Jeremy Buckholtz from the U.S. Army DevCom HQ and Sergeant First Class Roderick Trotter of the U.S. Army DevCon Army Research Lab, as well as the subject matter expert Ms. Savannah Silva from the U.S. Army Test and Evaluation Command Yuma Test Center. So that's all the way out in Yuma. Some of you might be out that way. So there you go. So thank you to those mentors. We're going to take you here to the very first team on our list, the Vision Walkers, an 8th grade national finalist team from Granger Middle School in Aurora, Illinois. And that's made up of team members Shivani Jambunathan, Ryan Cho, and Arna Raghavapudi. And their team advisor was Matangi Jambunathan. So here we go, everybody. It's the Vision Walkers.
Hi, my name's Shivani, and my teammates are Arna and Ryan. We're the Vision Walkers from Illinois. The goal of our project is to revolutionize current technology for the visually impaired, which is why we created Visual Assistance Shoes, or VAS.
There are currently 285 million people in the world who are visually impaired.
And of those people, 14% are completely blind, while the rest have low vision.
These people encounter many problems, such as bumping into obstacles, walking into dangerous areas like streets, and even having difficulty fitting in and making friends.
We were inspired to fix this problem because of my cousin. He was visually impaired and he was always frustrated when he bumped into things. He also disliked the need to rely on someone else to be available if he wanted to go for a walk. We decided to try to come up with a solution that would have helped him.
The most widely used options right now are walking canes, human guides, and guide dogs.
However, the technology available is outdated and has problems. Along with that, a social barrier is created between the impaired and non-impaired, creating feelings of inferiority and isolation.
Learning from the cons of current technologies, we knew the criteria needed to help us create a new product for the visually impaired.
This led us into creating VAS.
Thanks to the help of mechanical engineers at Purdue University, we were introduced to the components we eventually used to build VAS. VAS anticipates obstacles in a 50-centimeter range, monitors the user's location to make sure they don't step out of a designated safe zone, and outputs warnings using an alert system.
System number 1, the obstacle detection system, uses an ultrasonic sensor to detect obstacles. The ultrasonic sensor works by sending out an ultrasonic pulse and timing how long it takes for the pulse to bounce back to the receiver.
Because the ultrasonic sensor only inputs the time it takes for the ultrasonic pulse to return back from an obstacle, we used a distance formula to calculate the distance from obstacles.
Using the inverse of the distance formula, we were able to calculate that the ultrasonic sensor reacts within milliseconds of detecting an object.
To test the efficiency of the ultrasonic sensor, we momentarily have the sensor turn on a red LED light during a slow reaction, yellow LED during a medium reaction, and a green LED during a fast reaction when approaching obstacles at various speeds. Once again, we found that the
System number 2, the location detection system, uses a Neo6M GPS module and an IPX interface active antenna to monitor the user's location.
Through testing of the GPS module, we determined that the location detection system is accurate. By bringing the location system to various places, we tested if the GPS module blinks, meaning that enough satellites are connected to determine the user's coordinates. We hope to test a safe zone in future testing.
System number 3, the alert system, uses a buzzer or vibration motor depending on the user's preference to warn the user when any parameters are crossed.
Since we were confident in the level of accuracy of all our 3 systems, we drew a schematic of everything combined and pre-coded everything on the Arduino IDE using the C programming language before starting to build.
By meeting up together, we built our prototype.
When we made our first prototype, there were many problems. It was not stable on the shoe and couldn't detect short objects due to its initial height of 5 centimeters.
Learning from these mistakes, we then built our final prototype of VAS. Also, VAS approximately costs only $40 to build.
This shows where each component is located on the shoe. We hope that VAS will continuously encourage confidence levels and remove insecurities of the visually impaired, creating the most positive impact on our community. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Vision Walkers. Very, very cool stuff there. I think it is so great when teams are looking at problems that maybe don't get addressed all the time, that aren't seen by everybody, things like that. I mean, a lot of our teams are doing that, but like kind of finding these problems that get, I don't know, pushed off to the side that we don't think about quite as often.
I completely agree. The fact that some of these projects are looking at things that are going to help people move through their space, through their lives, that is fantastic. And I just wanted to tell you, Matt, remember before you asked me what C5ISR does? Mm-hmm. This project with the Vision Walkers is right inside what C5ISR does. So, this group of 8th graders right here, give them a couple of years and send them down to APG, and they are going to be right inside the type of work that our engineers and scientists are doing now with sensors to understand their environment. So this is really exciting to see the future.
That is great. Well, Vision Walkers, there you go. You got jobs lined up. Just call up Erica in a couple of years and let her know that you're ready. And they'll be hiring you down there, because that's fantastic. That is very, very cool stuff. All right, let's move on to our next 8th grade team, the Steampunk Hedgehogs, which are national finalists and STEM in Action grant winners. They're a homeschool team from Foxborough, Massachusetts, made up of Coleman Duplessis, Kindwin Duplessis, Gabriel Cole, and Serenity Burrow. And their team advisor is Beth Duplessis. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Steampunk Hedgehogs.
Good morning. We're the Steampunk Hedgehogs. My name is Gabe, and as the brother of a person with Down syndrome, I'm intimately aware of the mental and physical health challenges faced by people in the Down syndrome community. That's why my homeschool friends and I developed this product. Our goal for our project was to find a way to help members of the Down syndrome community stay more active and fit. Down syndrome is a disability whose most common characteristics are low muscle tone, short working memory, less stamina, and heart problems. Staying fit is a challenge for all people, but more so for the Down syndrome community due to lower muscle tone or hypotonia. The best way for someone with Down syndrome to lose weight and gain muscle is moving frequently and exercising and raising their heart rate. In our extensive research, we spoke to many industry professionals, including Dr. Emily Davidson, the head doctor at Boston Children's Hospital Down Syndrome Clinic, program managers at the Mass Down Syndrome Congress, and the owner of Unified Health and Performance, a gym that focuses on people with special needs. We also spoke with about 30 families who have young adults with Down syndrome. We read many articles on Down syndrome and visited reputable websites such as the Special Olympics, American Heart Association, and the National Down Syndrome Society to gain more information and knowledge.
We then came up with over 30 possible solutions to our problem of keeping young people with Down syndrome fit. We voted and narrowed down our project ideas. At this point, we used a Pew chart to compare our top 4 solutions in several different areas. After discussing, we came to a consensus and our project was selected. Our project is 4 large, colorful buttons which can be placed around a room or outdoor space to play a long-distance version of the game Simon, which requires players to exercise and run around. We conducted research to see if any products like this already existed and didn't find anything similar. We started the design process by drawing what we wanted our product to look like and listing the components we need. Some engineering practices we learned to create this product include soldering, programming in C, C++, and Arduino IDE, designing 3D models in Tinkercad, and using a 3D printer.
We divided up research for each of the components for the boxes, researching online and consulting with mentors. We found an Arduino called a feather, which comes with a built-in radio to communicate with other feathers that we could program to function as the brain of each button. In addition to the feather Arduinos, each button contains an LED light, a small speaker, a battery, a charging port, and an on-off switch. Once we had all the components, we started designing a box that could be 3D printed. Instead of designing the whole box from the beginning, we broke the box into sections to make it easier to figure out the right sizes for all our openings and component bosses. We tested after every significant change before moving on. For example, first we wrote code to blink an LED, then we made it blink when a button was pressed, then we made it blink when a button across the room was pressed. We progressed until we could program the entire game of Simon. Once all the components worked, we discussed and designed all the tiny details of how the game would play. The part was much deeper and harder than we expected.
We conducted playtesting with a young man who had Down syndrome and saw how dramatically he was challenged and engaged while playing with our game. Our test data shows that he raised his heart rate from around 80 beats per minute to around 160 beats per minute after using our product. Also, as children play long-distance Simon using our product, they're memorizing many patterns of colorful buttons to hit, thus gradually improving working memory. All team members had roles in the design, engineering, and implementation of our project. Research was shared by all teammates, including conducting interviews with doctors and industry and fitness professionals. Coley was the lead programmer, while Tiny and I did most of the soldering. The boxes were 3D printed by Coley and Tiny, and Gabe conducted our playtesting and evaluated the data. We are so excited for the benefit our project can bring to the Down syndrome community, specifically through the MDSC and the Down syndrome clinics at Boston Children's Hospital and the Mass General Hospital. All these organizations have expressed great interest in using our product with their members and patients. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Steampunk Hedgehogs. That's very, very cool stuff. Again, once again, looking at a population that we don't often give enough attention to, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Just this project, being able to find a way to support kids that have Downs, kids that need that extra piece of help. This is an incredible piece of work you guys have done, and so important in the world.
Agreed. And I also have to say, I don't know if you've noticed, Erica, or not, there are these logos for every team that we've been seeing all afternoon here, or morning, I guess it's still morning. Boy, Steampunk Hedgehogs, I got to give you a little extra applause for that logo. That is a fantastic design there. That is a Steampunk Hedgehog. No argument. I mean, that is just what that is. You see that and you go Steampunk Hedgehog. So well done on that logo. Good
I
stuff.
agree for sure. I'm a big steampunk fan, so that was pretty fantastic to be able to see. So extra well done on that. But wow, just such great projects.
I know, right? All right. Well, let's go on and see what our next project is. This is a next 8th grade team, the Academic Altruists. They're a national finalist team from Pioneer Heritage Middle School. in Frisco, Texas. And they're made up of Abraham Nadaraju, Srija Sarasetti, Ishan Inabatini, and Ratik Reddy Karsarla. And their team advisor is Pavan Inabatini. So here they are, the academic altruists.
Hi, we're the academic altruists. The problem that we chose to research is teen substance abuse, a growing issue that we originally learned about through yearly presentations from our teachers. There is solid evidence that displays that this problem is a huge issue in high school, with half of high schoolers having tried alcohol, drugs, or marijuana, according to the NIDA. After significant independent research, we found out that there are many root causes to this problem, including the overavailability of drugs, peer pressure, thrill-seeking, stress, depression, and the most important being the lack of parent engagement, which has been known to decrease the chances of teen substance abuse, which is supported by many studies. Although students are generally well educated about substance abuse and addiction at school, parents usually receive insufficient education regarding drug abuse. Dr. Rajkala Patku, a subject matter expert in addiction psychiatry, helped us identify a list of symptoms that are found in substance abuse. He also provided some sources that were useful in our project. Overall, our solution needs to increase parent engagement, allow parents to diagnose their children through symptoms, and be cheap and widely available.
Aside from the research we gained independently, we also reached out to professionals. We got help from NIDA, an organization that deals with drug abuse addiction and provides information on it, such as causes, what it is, and how it can deal with it. We realized that there will be an important asset to our project. When we emailed NIDA, they provided us with articles, suggestions, statistics, and data, which we incorporated into our solution. And in addition to all this, our solution can have many general benefits regarding the common lives. To offer some census, almost $81 billion are spent by American companies every year due to drug abuse, and common problems in the community like crime, drunk driving, and diseases such as secondhand smoking, which are all closely related to drug abuse, can be greatly reduced.
Once we're able to identify the problem and then done some research, we want to design a solution to minimize teenage drug abuse by building an easy-to-use mobile app. In our research, we discovered that there were no quick and widely available solutions for identifying substance abuse in teenagers, and after proper analysis, my team and I came with a design for the app to be used by the parents of the teenagers. The app works by prompting a series of questions to the parent about their teen's daily life and then calculating their risk factor for addiction, as seen. The app itself is designed to contain a weekly questionnaire to ask parents about distinct behavioral patterns that they observe in their teen, a feedback page that goes in-depth over the results, and a risk analysis page, which shows parents how the teen symptoms have progressed over time. The next step was to find compatible software to build our app quickly and efficiently. And once we did that, we worked to construct the first version of our app. Within it, we split the questionnaire results into 4 categories of risk: low, low to moderate, moderate to high, and high. We also provided feedback to the parent for each category of their child score. Dr. Rajkal Patu, who we mentioned earlier, also helped with the questions feature in our questionnaire. We built a framework around these questions, a spreadsheet titled Risk Calculation Framework, which can be found in our mission folder. After the questionnaire and its logic were all said and done, we fine-tuned the app to make it more user-friendly. For example, the risk analysis page featured Google Chart APIs to map out a child's risk over time.
Once our group finished the first version of the app, we collected individual target audience reviews and reached out to various middle school and high school principals and counselors to get their feedback. They gave us positive feedback and confirmed that drug abuse is a key negative aspect in our school system. However, they told us that drug abuse was not as common in our school district, and we wondered if this was related to the high parent engagement in our area. To better understand this, we conducted a survey and noticed that 90% of parents in our community believed that parent engagement had a high to moderate impact on their teenage child's risk of substance abuse. Overall, with our thorough research on the problem, precision in creating the solution, and continual revisions with the given feedback, we were able to create a highly efficient and simple-to-use mobile app that increases parent engagement to prevent teenage substance abuse. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, academic altruists. That is a very important topic to be handled here, and the amount of research and work that went into that, and the programming and everything along those lines, very, very impressive stuff.
Yes, and I can tell you right now, as a parent of a teenager, I would like to download your app today so that I can sure we're all staying on top of this. This is really, really incredible work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Getting parents involved, I think, is incredibly important, as the research was showing. And wow, that's just some great stuff. So very well done, if I can speak correctly. Let's move on to our next 8th grade team, Team Astro STEM, a national finalist team from Ocean Bay Middle School in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, made up of Brianna Stevens and Braden Montroy. And their team advisor is Dennis Wright. So Team Astro STEM.
Hello, my name is Brianna Stevens. I'm the sales representative for the Sweep-O-Matic. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. My name is Braden Montroy, and I'm the director of the Grand Strand Humane Society.
Is it hard to keep the animals' areas clean and to test the pH levels of the animals often?
Yes, the staff and volunteers spend hours cleaning the animals' kennels. We have to move the animals into a different section and use hoses to rinse the waste into the drains, or we pick it up by hand depending on the texture. It still smells terrible in the shelter because we have a hard time keeping it clean. It is also very difficult to test all of the animals on a regular basis since we have so many jobs to do.
That sounds like a big problem.
It's hard for us to complete everything that needs to be done.
Well, I have a solution to your problem. It's called the Sweep-O-Matic.
How does it work?
I'm glad you asked. The Sweep-O-Matic senses the urine and feces in the animals' kennels using a color moisture sensor, and it'll clean it up. It'll clean the floors in the process. It'll also test the pH level of the urine using the pH sensor, and then it'll clean up the waste.
Why do you use a pH sensor?
It is used to detect a change in the normal 6.2 to 7 pH level range of most animals, including cats, dogs, and more. If the animal's pH level is over 7, it would indicate that a health concern or illness, such as urinary tract infections or chronic infections, might be present. It will alert the staff and volunteers that further testing is needed. The Sweep-O-Matic also uses an ultrasonic sensor to detect if an animal approaches it, and it will say no. This will help the animal learn to stay away from it. The Sweep-O-Matic will then turn and cover the entire kennel to make sure that the kennel stays clean. Here's an example of the Sweep-O-Matic in action.
That's interesting. How and why was it created?
It all started with an EV3 programmable brick, Lego pieces, sensors, wheels, quartz connectors, a special scoop, and a custom-made wipe, mixed with a lot of hard work, time, meticulous attention to details, and the determination to solve a problem in the community to form the Sweep-O-Matic.
Well, according to recent data, many shelters are on the verge of having to euthanize healthy animals to make room. Shelters in South Carolina currently have a death rate of 20% just from overpopulation. Can it help with these issues?
The Sweep-O-Matic will make the shelter more inviting, so future pet owners will be viewing the animals in clean conditions, which could cause an increase in adoption rates.
Can the Sweep-O-Matic save animal shelters money?
Shelters will save money because they will save on labor costs and cleaning supplies.
Great. We could use that money for more space, advertising, or better pet care. What else can it do?
The Sweep-O-Matic can help test animals for health issues.
That's very helpful. We usually can't due to a lack of funding.
The Sweep-O-Matic will help change the lives of these animals that seem stuck in shelters.
I looked at the website at sweepomatic.weebly.com that you sent me earlier. It shows that it has a great impact on the time spent cleaning out the kennels, how it tests pH levels, and how it can help staff have more time to do more important jobs. It also included a very well-made game. Thank you for sharing this information on the website with me.
Thank you for joining me to discuss this new product. I know that you'll win with the Sweep-O-Matic.
I know that it will be very beneficial here at the animal shelter. Sign us up for the Sweep-O-Matic.
Very cool stuff. Wow, I love the way that thing looks, and I love that format. I love that little, back and forth. It's like we were watching a play going on. I love it.
That was very cool to watch. I was like involved because of the story in it. And once again, a population that we don't often always think about, making sure that our pets are safe, our dogs. That's really fantastic.
That is true. That is true. Now, I'm also told that there was a glitch of some kind with my microphone that before I said that the TA's name was Denise Wright, and I guess it came out as Dennis Wright, but I don't know who. If you heard that was that something was wrong with the speakers or the microphone. I don't know what it is, but it's Denise Wright, of course, is the team advisor for this team. So just make sure that is clear to everybody out there. All right, let's go on. This is going to be our final 8th grade team. They are national finalist Team Stumptown. They're a community group, Robo Rink from Portland, Oregon, and they're made up of Shreyas Ananth, Kapil Kakodkar, Risheb Madhusudan, and Tejaswani Datla, and their team advisor is Ananth Sankara Narayanan. So, ladies and gentlemen, Team Stumptown.
My name's Kapil, and as you heard, I'm here with Rishabh, Teju, and Chase. We are Stumptown, an 8th grade team from Portland, Oregon. According to Arthritis Foundation, more than 54 million adults and almost 300,000 children have arthritis. The condition incurs over $200 billion in physical therapy and medication per year. Arthritis is an informal way of referring to joint pain or joint disease. People of all ages, genders, and races can and do have arthritis. By conservative estimates, the number of adults in the United States with doctor-diagnosed arthritis is projected to increase 49% by 2040. Research has shown physical activity and therapy can reduce pain and improve physical function by around 40%. If you want to understand just how difficult arthritis can be, imagine a world in which everyday actions like picking up a water bottle or even opening a can of soda can be difficult, painful, and exhausting. On top of that, during the COVID-19 pandemic, many patients with arthritis were denied access to physical therapy facilities and were unable to perform their daily exercise routine. Cost effectively and reliably improve the virtual physical therapy experience for people with arthritis.
We spoke to 10 experts and researched over 20 sources to better understand rheumatoid arthritis. With guidance from several local physical therapy clinics, we learned about the condition and the exercises that therapists typically prescribe. We decided to focus on 10 different hand exercises and to create a virtual physical therapy experience, allowing patients to remotely perform their daily exercise routines in the comfort of their own homes. Similar to the Xbox Connect video game accessory, we found a programmable device that can track finger movements from the user, called the Leap Motion Controller. We developed a prototype application using the Unity software chart positions of the 10 exercises we targeted. In total, our solution costs a one-time payment of $105.
We automated the 10 hand exercises and tested each exercise for specific criteria using a thorough and safe testing procedure. We used the Leap Motion Controller to collect the XYZ coordinates of the 3 samples for each exercise. We also analyzed error rates using machine learning algorithms and recorded scores based on the accuracy of each exercise routine. We tested our device on multiple age groups, on people with and without arthritis, and improved our model based on their feedback. We proved that 9 out of 10 virtual hand exercises had over an 80% accuracy rate compared to the ideal state recommended by physical therapists. However, we were unable to simulate the wristband exercise due to overlapping hands not being supported by our device.
We found 4 main sources of error. These are the natural variation in z-values throughout testing, the inability for our controller to track overlapping fingers, random hand movements and ticks, and room lighting variation. As shown in the conclusion section of our mission folder, we can offer a reliable and cost-effective virtual physical therapy experience for 9 out of 10 of the hand exercises for patients with arthritis. In our next steps, we aim to develop an app that can track patient history, create a system that can cover for different types of arthritis, and connect patients with their therapists. We also aim to develop games that can motivate patients to do their daily hand exercises. As many clinics in our community have been greatly impacted by the COVID-19 lockdown, it has been more difficult for therapists to communicate with their patients. Our solution offers a cost-effective and reliable alternative for current virtual therapy options. Let's reimagine physical therapy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. What an excellent presentation. And again, oh man, these problems, these ideas, these things that you folks are solving here, this is amazing. This is really good stuff.
is really incredible. And I can tell you, as somebody who has the beginnings of arthritis in my hands, I was doing my exercises along with your presentation as I was watching, and that would be such an amazingly useful thing, something seemingly simple that nobody has thought about doing the research and the work for. So, wow, really, really fantastic. And I see a commonality amongst our 8th graders of really finding populations and finding things to solve very specific problems within them. So really well done.
Yes, I totally agree. And I want to remind everybody out there, we're about to do some Q&A here. So if you've got any questions for these teams, go ahead and throw them in the chat so we can make sure we get them answered. Also, make sure that you're continuing to vote on those People's Choice Awards. Again, that's going to be open for another hour and a half, or I'll call it another hour and 20 minutes until 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. I've got about 10 after 12 here right now. So, think about that. Make sure you're voting for your favorite team, because, that team, that they're going to win. They're going to win a prize. In fact, I believe they're going to win some iPads. Does that sound right? Something along those lines, Erica?
That does sound right. And that's pretty exciting. I know I would like to win a new iPad. So yeah. I would definitely encourage everybody, make sure you're voting for your favorite team.
That's right. That's right. We've got about 3,500 votes right now, which is right on pace for us, I believe. I think that we're about halfway through the voting process, 3,500. We might hit our goal. All right, let's take a look at some questions that have rolled in here, or maybe I should say have walked in here, because our first one is for the Vision Walkers. So Vision Walkers, this is a question for you. Have you been able to test your device on anyone in the visually impaired community? And if so, what was their feedback?
We were unable to test. We reached out to a blind school, but due to COVID, we were unable to test with any visually impaired people. But that is one of the next steps we're looking to do.
Excellent. Good stuff. Thanks so much for that. This next one here is for Team AstroStem. So AstroStem, have you worked with your local animal shelters to test your Sweep-O-Matic? And if so, how did this experience affect your product design? Did you make any changes after that? Or, did you have a chance to do that?
So because of COVID, we were really restricted for what tests we could do. So in that video, we built the best mock-up that we could to test it. And then with that, we made some tiny adjustments to it.
But we have been able to talk to our local animal shelters and be able to ask them many questions that we put into our learning to be able to find out more things about the Sweep-O-Matic. And we've made changes on the Sweep-O-Matic as we tested inside of our mock-up situation in the kennel.
Very good. Wow. I'll tell you, I keep hearing that COVID is really was a real problem for these teams. And yet here you are, look at what you accomplished, even in this world of not being able to do all of the tests that you want to do, not being able to go out and talk to the people you want to talk to. So congratulations to all of you for getting done what you did get done. Because man, COVID just not great. I might hate COVID more than I hate fungus, Erica. That might be true.
I think that's a really fair statement. And I really just want to echo what Matt said. The resilience and the perseverance of all of these amazing students who got it done this year, even with all the restrictions of COVID that we're hearing about. So really just above and beyond excellent, because this was really a hard year for everyone. And it is really impressive that you managed to get all of this incredible work done.
Totally agree. Well, we have one more question here. We're actually going to jump back to 7th grade for a moment. So 7th graders, listen up. I got a question for the Mudsketeers, and this is coming in from our team advisor of the year, Laura Wilbanks. She would like to know, how does soil moisture affect carbon? Mudsketeers, what do you think about that?
Well, the soil itself should not be reactive to the carbon, as we didn't notice any changes with the electrodes and the mud. So throughout our project and in specifically prototype 4, we did not exhibit any changes. So we don't think that the mud affects the carbon.
All right, there you go. So yeah, so there you go, folks. Turns out if you got a question for a previous grade, you can even throw that into the chat and we will try to get to it for you. So keep that in mind as we go through our 9th graders and our final Q&A session at the end of those 9th graders. Erica, why don't you tell us who we got coming up next?
All right, so we are going to move on to our final group of students, our 9th grade. This year, our 9th grade teams worked with NCO mentor Sergeant First Class Jason Martin from our U.S. Army DevCom headquarters, and they worked with STEM mentors, Mr. Stephen Octamir of the U.S. Army DevCom Armament Center, and Mr. Keith Conley of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Engineering Research and Development Center. So that was some really great interactions they got to have there. So our first 9th grade team are part of a community group called Kaizo Robotics in Oswego, Illinois. They are team members Zoya Siddiqui, Adil Barkat, Abdullah Ahad Barkat, Jensen Kunrad, and team advisor Savita Kulkarni, and they are team Phoenix Cubitex.
When I was younger, my mom instructed me to make all the faucets in the house drip to prevent our water pipes from freezing that night. A few hours later, after the snow started to fall, I suddenly realized that I had totally forgotten. I remember frantically racing through our house, turning on all the faucets, thinking of what I feared more, our pipes freezing and bursting, or my mom's wrath upon them doing so. Luckily, our pipes did not freeze that night, but frozen pipes have environmental consequences and cause extensive property damage that affects our community and the rest of the nation. Our team first identified the problem of pipes freezing when a friend lost their home and everything they owned when they went on vacation and caused them to burst and flood the house. We decided to gather more information on this problem by contacting experts, conducting a survey, and reading scientific research papers. We were shocked to find that just a 2-inch diameter burst pipe will leak 850 gallons of water per minute. Not only is this very wasteful, but this can cause a lot of property damage. For example, the Texas freeze last year caused $35 billion worth of property damage. Existing solutions to this problem are either not environmentally friendly, like leaving the heat raised even when a building is vacant, or can be ineffective, like only alerting the user that pipes are at risk of freezing. As a team, we chose to use the engineering design process to tackle this problem.
Based on our research, we set various criteria and constraints for our solutions, such as being able to indefinitely prevent 2 millimeters of half-an-inch diameter copper water piping from freezing, and to cost under $50. Then we brainstormed various solutions. We used the decision matrix to decide on the best solutions for the parameters we set, and that is how we came up with the icebreaker.
Icebreaker, our solution to the problem of freezing pipes, has a temperature sensor to measure the temperature of the water pipe. If it detects below freezing temperatures, it sends a signal to this Arduino board that turns on this eco-friendly heating pad. The pad warms the water inside the pipe to above freezing, which prevents it from expanding. As soon as the water is above freezing, the device detects it and turns off the heating pad to conserve electricity. The device also has an LCD display screen and Bluetooth technology that allows it to interface with an app to improve the usability of our device. The device works with a battery or can be plugged into an electrical outlet if one is available.
We spent various sessions developing an app running the circuitry needed for a prototype and developing a simulation to create a fully functional prototype of our device and to effectively test the solution. Originally, our simulation showed us that our device could only indefinitely prevent 2 linear meters of piping from freezing at temperatures higher than -10 degrees Celsius. To increase our device's effectiveness so that it met our criteria, we added foam insulation around the heating pad and pipe. This caused less heat to leave the system, increasing the efficiency of the device and allowed it to meet our criteria. We also tested our working prototype using a thermal camera and below freezing outdoor temperatures to ensure it was as effective as the simulation predicted.
To refine our design and to determine how to implement it in our community, we revisited experts such as a plumber, foreman, and a home builder who thought our device was a great solution to this problem. To determine where to place our device, one could use an infrared thermometer or consult a building's plans to identify cold spots. We found that the main limitation of our device was that we didn't have a system to mount it on pipes inside of walls, so we developed one.
Based on our survey, our device's versatility, low cost, and ease of installation means that 80% of homeowners in our community would purchase our device if it was available. The device would have a positive, measurable impact on our community by preventing the waste of water and electricity, and by preventing property damage. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, team. That is really fantastic.
Erica, you've been muted somehow. I don't know. Someone has muted you.
Oh, no. Well, am I back?
You are back. You are back. We heard you say that it was fantastic, and then we missed the rest.
Well, it was fantastic. I was congratulating the team first and foremost for understanding the dangers of the wrath of mom. That is really just something to be avoided at every step. So well done there. But really being able to eye on that, because I grew up in a place of leaving my faucets running just a little tiny bit to avoid the freezing. And this is really an amazing project to overcome that.
Yep, I totally agree. I'm the same way. And boy, oh boy, if I didn't have to do that, I'd feel a lot better about everything. So I agree.
Okay, this was fantastic. So we are going to move on now to our next 9th grade team. And they are here both as STEM in Action grant recipients and as national finalist team. And they are from Rockbridge High School in Ashburn, Virginia. And they are team members Jagadipram Madipatla, Rishi Atavale, and team advisor Jaya Chundru, and they are the signing squad.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jagdeep Pramadipatla.
And my name is Rishi Atavale.
We're part of the signing squad, a team of high schoolers bringing artificial intelligence to the deaf community with the goal of bridging communication gaps.
A plethora of deaf individuals rely upon ASL, or American Sign Language, for their means of communication. However, there is a dearth of ASL knowledge within the general community, leading to common people being unable to communicate with the deaf. Almost 600,000 deaf individuals and 10 million hard of hearing individuals live in the US alone, compared to only 56,960 currently employed ASL translators.
In our county alone, 8.8 to 10% of the population is deaf or hard of hearing. Many deaf individuals also reside in urban areas, which only heightens the need for communication. This communication gap prevents the deaf community from accessing basic necessities along with a livelihood. Deaf individuals older than 16 face twice the average rate of unemployment as opposed to the general community. Barriers in the workforce are imminent, and the deaf community also faces barriers in education due to a lack of communication. While human translators can help, they're relatively low in supply and are too expensive a luxury for the average middle-class family.
To bridge the communication gap, we decided to create an accessible two-way ASL translator, which enlists the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning through a finger spelling approach. One half of our translator is an ASL to text translator.
True to its name, our ASL to text translator takes in an ASL letter and outputs it as text. The user will graphically input an ASL letter in the form of an image, video, or even live video. This is then fed into our HAR Cascade machine learning algorithms, which detect and translate the input into text.
The HAR Cascade algorithms use the OpenCV computer vision library to detect objects in an image based on the edges, making it perfect for detecting ASL letters. A HAR Cascade was trained for each letter on thousands of images. Due to low file sizes, the translator is easily deployable and accessible, providing a free solution for a persisting problem. However, in order to allow the system to operate in two ways, we also created a speech to ASL translator. This too operates in an intuitive format. First, the user inputs some audio, which is converted to text using the Google speech-to-text model. Through a custom program logic script, we then connect each letter of the text to an ASL letter, which is graphically given to the deaf individual. In conjunction with the ASL to text translator, these two translators form a two-way communication bridge, breaking social barriers.
In order to acquire an understanding of the performance, we manually tested both of these translators. The ASL to text translator specifically was tested in 5 different environments, and it achieved an average accuracy of at least 80% on 4 out of 5 of these settings, but performed rather subpar outdoors.
Additionally, we tested the speech to ASL translator in 3 different environments and achieved an average accuracy of 92%. A major constraint that we faced was a lack of data sets. Through more data, we believe that we can increase the translator's accuracy and utilize full ASL word depiction rather than fingerspelling. The culmination of our two translators is our bridge for the ASL and English communication gap. Ultimately, we will create a relatively accurate and accessible ASL to English translator, effectively connecting two dispersed communities.
We ultimately envision our two-way ASL translator to be an accessible, scalable solution for ASL translation. As stated before, millions of individuals are currently suffering due to this communication gap in a multitude of sectors. We're currently working on creating a mobile application for our translator in collaboration with professors from Guyot at university. This will further help bring communities together, and within our county alone, we'll create an accessible and free solution for potentially thousands of people.
Our translator could also be used to work under the ADA, or Americans with Disabilities Act. Since public areas, programs, and telecasts are required to accommodate deaf individuals, our translator would be able to alleviate costs while providing a real-time two-way relay.
Even though our model is far from a perfectly accurate translator, we believe that it can bridge the lines of communication between companies and deaf employees, the government and the deaf citizens, along with people and deaf family members. We believe in the power of a much more connected and united world and hope to fight against this issue using artificial intelligence starting in our own backyard.
Well, thank you, team, for that. That was a fantastic project. I had no idea of the huge difference between the deaf and hard of hearing community versus available ASL translators. That's really incredible. The idea that this would be able to bridge that gap is fantastic. Matt, were you tracking that huge gap?
No, I certainly didn't know about it. And I think that this is an amazing thing, just in general. I mean, anything that increases the ability to communicate is a valuable thing. And I think that this is something that could do that in a very substantial way. So I'm super impressed.
Yeah, for sure. Everything gets better when we're able to relate to each other and make sure that we're sharing information. And this is going to open that up for a whole new community that is not getting full access to that communication now. So this is really well done. Congratulations, team. So our next team up are also both STEM and Action Grant recipients and a national finalist team. They are Taos Tiger Lab at Taos Academy in Taos, New Mexico.
0.3 microns in size has brought the world to a standstill. Consequences include lifetime pre-existing conditions and death.
COVID-19 has a high transmission rate. It's airborne in an aerosol form. It can absorb through your nose, mouth, and eyes. It can hang around the air and then be sucked in by the next person that comes along. But it isn't the only virus running around and will not be the last.
The heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, or HVAC, is an air source in a series of fans that take in air through a filtered vent, then expel heated, cooled air out through other vents in individual rooms. Current HVAC filters are made of synthetic polymers, cotton fibers, or fiberglass. CDC and EPA recommendations include replacement every 2 weeks to 2 months, depending on building population. Recommended MERV 13 filters should absorb 80% or more of the particulates of the 0.3 to 1 micron in size.
Old filters should be burned for guaranteed sterilization, but can put out a high amount of carbon emissions. They most likely end up in a landfill to hang around for a few hundred years.
Nature Breed's focus is to develop a filter with a MERV 13 or better rating out of natural plant-based materials. The actual virus is illegal for student use, so instead a simulation was produced using fluorescent colloidal copper nanoparticles, or GLUS-UMPs, that approximate the same size range as the actual viruses.
Plant materials selected via research are commonly found in the desert Southwest. Some are considered weeds. These include pine, cottonwood, and Siberian elm bark, Mexican aloe vera, rubber and pulp, mullein, and rabbit brush. These were blended to a pulp. Less fibrous materials needed binders like aloe vera juice, Siberian elm bark, and cornstarch to keep them together. Each were poured into silicone molds and air dried for 2 days.
And the first real test for cohesion, or the ability to keep it together, came in getting them out of the molds. It was during this process that mullein and pine were lost, which fell apart faster than a high school student before a final math exam.
The prototypes were mounted inside a completely darkened laser chamber suspended using magnets over a sample hole. A laser wall was constructed using a green pen laser and a concave lens, then shown through the laser chamber across the sample area.
An air compressor was used to shoot the GLUS-UMP solution into the sample at an average speed of a sneeze, 2.4 pounds per square inch at 100 miles per hour. The particulates are measured through the laser's flashes of light.
Think of how you see individual dust particles across a flashlight beam, then apply that concept to a bunch of light pink itty-bitty particles. The sample was placed under a microscope to observe the adhesion and absorption of GLUS-UMPs on both sides of the sample using a software program.
The distance the particles traveled inside the tank after penetration were measured along with adhesion. Water alone was a control and flowed an average of 14 centimeters. Cotton had the next highest level of flight, the least distance with the least particles. Siberian elm and rabbit brush with and without binders. Absorption was reduced by aloe vera rubber and Siberian elm. Absorption was enhanced with cotton and rabbit brush. In comparison to the MERV 13, rabbit brush and Siberian elm with and without binders performed better with less particle penetration and higher absorption.
Siberian elm, rabbit brush, then aloe vera rubber with aloe vera and Siberian elm binders were highly effective at reducing particle penetration and absorption. Siberian elm and rabbit brush with and without binders compared to the MERV 13 filter were 80% more efficient at absorption and penetration reduction of loose UMPs. Aloe followed by Siberian elm binders were effective at increasing cohesion and particle adhesion.
Samples limited, so I have not yet tried burn emissions nor vacuum testing. We were working to design or retrofit or sprung HVAC system of process air in each room to utilize these cost-effective filters independently. These filters can currently be used in recirculating HVAC systems like those found in vehicles. Siberian or rabbit brush could be processed through deacetylation to reduce allergens. We'd like to send final prototypes to be tested against the real deal so that our community, our society, and our world can find a healthier new normal. Thank you.
All right, thank you, team. That was absolutely incredible, and I'm going to be really honest. I want to go back and understand better all the neat things you were talking about. Matt, you probably have a lot more understanding of this incredible project than I do.
Oh yeah, Erica. I mean, that all, I understand all of that. And they need to explain it for other people who don't understand as well as I do. But yeah, I'm very, very smart. And you guys got to use a laser? That's awesome. I mean, that is so cool. And the amount of research that you did on that and figuring out this whole HVAC system and better filtration, I mean, that's incredibly important to us, all of us right now, obviously. And as you mentioned, this is not the last time that we're going to face these types of problems, right? Where we're going to have diseases that are airborne and things like that. So just incredible research, great to find a natural solution to it. And man, the way you were able to conduct that research and all the nifty little toys you got to use, oh, very impressed. Very cool stuff.
It really was incredible. And your averages, I hate to think about it, this isn't the last time we're going to need to be thinking about these things. So having some of these solutions in place for the future is going to be really incredibly helpful. So well done. So we're going to move now to our next team, and they are both STEM in Action grant recipients as well as national finalists. They come to us from Enloe Magnet High School in Raleigh, North Carolina. They are team members Siddharth Maruarda, Abhinav Meduri, Arnav Meduri, and team advisor Subarao Meduri, and they are Pantry Patrol.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Miss Erica. My name is Siddharth Marvada, and along with my team members, Arnav Meduri and Abhinav Meduri, we make up Team Pantry Patrol. In the United States, nearly 40% of the food produced never makes it to the table and ends up in landfills. At the same time, 1 in 6 Americans remain food insecure. The COVID-19 pandemic has only made the situation worse. More households than ever rely on food assistance. Food waste and food insecurity are related. Solving one could solve the other. Studies have shown that reducing food waste by 15% would be enough food to feed more than 25 million Americans. While organizations such as food banks are helping to secure donations from national grocers, provide warehouses for safe storage, and provide logistical support, it is really the food pantries that feed thousands of people every day, and they need help. Food pantries are small, volunteer-run organizations which typically lack financial resources and IT skills required for tracking food waste and operating efficiently, and they lack tools to collaborate with their affiliate food banks. So we wanted to help fill the need by developing an application. After consultation with the experts at the food bank, we concluded that our solution should address the problem of tracking, analyzing, and reducing food waste so food pantries can stretch their resources to serve more households. In an effort to simplify day-to-day operations, of a food pantry, we decided the solution should help with household data management, as well as food and cash donation management, etc. We also wanted our solution to run on a wide variety of devices and platforms, ensure that the application is user-friendly, intuitive, secure, and most importantly, affordable.
We used an iterative development process and developed use cases and features in small increments, ensuring the user interfaces were consistent and intuitive. We tested with mock data from the food bank and gave frequent demos to our stakeholders and used their feedback in the next iterations. We made extensive use of the AppSheet platform to develop entities, relationships, and customization logic. We use Google Sheets for data storage. We have developed a deployment model, allowing each pantry to have their own application instance with private data protected by Google authentication. Here are a few of the application features. Pantry volunteers can track incoming donations beyond their expiration dates using the food donation, food inspection, food waste logging, and extension dates features. Food pantry workers can also customize food boxes through the Prepare a Box feature, considering the dietary and allergy information of a household. Using the application dashboards, food pantry administrators can visualize food waste data for any given date range and take follow-up actions to avoid sources of food waste. The application can be configured to email periodic food waste reports automatically to partner food banks, and this allows food banks to gain insight into the communities they are serving. As for the management features, pantry administrators can keep track of client information in the household section, such as their name, contact information, and qualification for subsidized meal programs. Using the cash donation features, food pantries can record donor and donation information. Volunteer information, including background checks, can be tracked under the volunteer section, and a report of volunteer hours can be automatically generated and emailed. To help three distinct communities. Firstly, food banks can receive food waste reports automatically and gain valuable insights into communities they serve and prepare for future needs. Secondly, food pantries can identify and eliminate sources of food waste and stretch their resources to more community members. On streamlined day-to-day operations, food pantries can now focus on serving their communities. Lastly, households will benefit from our application having their custom needs met and will be better served. The testimonials shown are just a few we received from community leaders, which validates that we are on the right track with our application. During our journey, we had the opportunity to interact with a number of experts and community leaders, such as Dr. Ammerman at UNC Chapel Hill and Mr. Gideon Adams at the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina. We learned a lot in the process and learned how to develop a useful application. As a team, we work well together, complementing each other's strengths and unique skills. We also learned a lot about the principles of software engineering and learned how to define use cases and develop a portable mobile application. Currently, we are piloting our application with 2 food pantries in North Carolina. Having recently received the STEM in Action grant, we have an aggressive plan to roll out our solution to build helpful video guides. We also plan to build a self-sustaining community to support our efforts in the long run. We would like to thank experts and mentors that went above and beyond to help us in this process and are grateful for this experience. Thank you, ECyber Mission, for getting us started on this journey. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to this presentation, and please be sure to vote.
All right, thank you. What an incredible project, and with such national implications for being able to help people and keep people served and fed and to manage those pantries. It's really something incredible. Really impressed, right, Matt?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, food waste is one of those things that I'm patently against. Whenever my 5-year-old daughter doesn't eat all the food on her plate, I take care of it to make sure that we don't waste any food. So thank you for saving me from myself.
Well done. We're going to move on to our next 9th grade team. They are also STEM in Action grant recipients as well as national finalists. They are part of a community group, STEM for Girls in Portland, Oregon. Our team members, Joe Kaladakudi, Reina Rafi, Karthik Krishnamurthy, Ishan Ghosh, with team advisor Viju Kaladakudi, and they are the Hawks.
We are Team Hawks, a group of 9th graders from Portland, Oregon, that came together to improve the lives of those in our community. There is a large blind and visually impaired population. In fact, 100,000 BVI people live in Oregon alone. The BVI find it hard to cross roads, and as a result resort to dangerous methods of doing so, like listening for the direction of traffic flow. They also have no way of detecting head-high hazards or obstacles above the waist, creating obstructions and limiting their ability to navigate. Current technology does not help with avoiding these obstacles. Many BVI people also find it hard to obtain jobs, In fact, the median monthly income for a blind American is just above $3,200. Our solution to these problems is an attachment to the white cane that helps the user cross roads, cross intersections, navigate roads, and avoid obstacles. It is based on input we received from a BBI member of our community and an instructor for the blind, and will help the BBI move easier and reduce the stigma they face. This is great on a human and an economic level.
Hello, my name is Raina and I'll explain our solution. Our solution has 3 parts: navigation, road crossing, and head-high hazard and obstacle detection. First off, with the navigation algorithm. Throughout the journey, the cane will use GPS software to check if there's an upcoming intersection. If there is, it'll vibrate on the side of the handle corresponding to the direction the user will turn in. Later, the user arrives at the intersection and presses the button, activating the road crossing algorithm. This is our road crossing algorithm. Once a user is at an intersection, the cane checks if the walk signal is on. If it is, the cane checks for any obstacles, and once it is safe to cross, it vibrates. These are our head-high hazard and obstacle detection algorithms. Both cause the cane to vibrate when an obstacle is detected, but the obstacle detection algorithm makes the cane vibrate with an intensity according to the obstacle's proximity.
Hi, I'm Joseph, and I'll explain the hardware and the processing software. We use a camera to capture crosswalk signals, a Raspberry Pi to run the program, an SD card to hold the program info, and a button to activate the camera. We use 2 ultrasonic sensors to detect nearby obstacles and measure them, and an Arduino to run the code. For all of these, we needed 3 vibration motors and a standard white cane. On the bottom is a screenshot of the code we use with the ultrasonic sensor for obstacle and head-high hazard detection. If an obstacle is detected, the buzzer will turn on, alerting the user. The graph on the top right shows the average accuracy for 5 trials of testing, where we place obstacles in front of the sensor ranging from 50 to 400 centimeters away.
Hi, I'm Karthik and I'll explain our AI software which helps users cross roads safely. But first, I'd like you to say hi to our friend Sam, a smart AI model. This is Sam. Sam uses the magic language of Python to let his eyes see if there's a don't walk or a walk signal. Then that information is sent to the processors in his nose. If he sees a don't walk signal, the idea of crossing the road will smell fishy to him. But if he sees a walk signal, it'll smell all roses, so he'll alert the user that they can proceed. On the right are example images we used to test the AI model, and on the left are examples of return detected objects. When we submitted our mission folder, Sam had learned with 50 images of crosswalk signals and was given 50 practice problems. We created the learning materials label IMG and used Google Colab to run the magic Python incantations. Sam classified images in 200 different ways, and the best one as a mission folder submission was about 25% accurate.
Although we made significant progress, we still need to improve our solution. We need to convert the output of the AI model and ultrasonic sensors into vibrations, input the live feed into the AI, and streamline the processing hubs, among other things. And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening, and vote for a Hawks if you can.
All right, thank you, Team Hawks. That was absolutely incredible, and I love Sam. I think Sam is cool, and that he's going to tell us if it smells fishy or rosy. So, what a really, really great idea to help out. Matt,
Totally
do you have
agree. Yeah, I think I'm glad to see AI being used in this way instead of the terrible ways we see in movies where it takes over the world. So this
let's avoid the evil robot overlords.
Yeah,
if we
this
can.
is the AI I like to see.
For sure. So at this time, we're going to move to our final team of the day, and they are a STEM in Action grant recipient team. They are from Green Level High School and Apex High School in Cary, North Carolina. They are team members Aditi Radhakrishnan, Liam Kiley, Abigail Kim, and team advisor Rashmi Kartha Komadal, and these are the food finders.
Hi, we're Team Food Finders, and we created the app Produce Rescue. The first big problem we were trying to solve with our app was food waste. 50% of all produce in the US is thrown away, which is about 60 million tons of food. Therefore, the challenge should not be how to grow more food, but how to feed more people by wasting less. A sub-problem to food waste is food decaying and releasing greenhouse gases, which contributes to climate change. Our second big problem was child hunger. In our state, North Carolina, 1 in 5 children faces hunger on a regular basis. Specifically, we are focusing on lack of access to nutritious foods, since many food that is donated is processed and unhealthy. We saw a connection between these two problems in our community, and we created our solution, the Produce Rescue app. It connects grocery stores and schools to redistribute excess produce to children in need. We thought it was a good idea because it does not involve producing extra resources, and it utilizes systems that are already in place. After we came up with our solution, we validated it by contacting school social workers to gauge their interest in our project and also inquire about any difficulties they might foresee in implementing our app. We also contacted grocery stores to understand existing store policies around donation, which helped us build upon existing systems.
One of those existing systems was the Trader Joe's donation program. Trader Joe's currently donates food that they cannot sell, but is still good to eat to local nonprofits. And when we implement our app, we will attempt to use this. When we emailed social workers, 75% of the social workers we contacted said they would be interested in bringing our program to their schools. However, some of them had concerns mainly over logistical problems in our design. 50% were concerned about how the distribution would take place and the role that volunteers would have in distribution, and 25% were concerned over how we would minimize spoilage. To address these concerns, we developed a detailed process of distribution. Grocery stores would create an account on our app and post produce that they cannot sell. Then schools would select these and have volunteers transfer the food between the grocery stores and the schools.
Who's ever speaking right now, we cannot hear you, so you may be muted.
This is a screenshot of the school view of our app, where schools can add items to cart and check them out. And this is a screenshot of the grocery store view of our app, where grocery stores can add products, new products, or change existing products. And finally, we have the volunteer view of our app, where volunteers can view the customer addresses so that they know where to deliver produce. Volunteers can also view the orders so that they can mark them as complete once distribution is complete. And as a STEM in Action grant team, we plan to further develop our app in the future by adding a messaging system to ensure smooth communication between all three parties in our app. Our second step is to recruit grocery stores, schools, and volunteers to be part of our process. And finally, we plan to implement our solution by getting excess produce from grocery stores into the hands of children in need. Thank you for watching, and we hope you'll support our idea.
Thank you. What an amazing project to close out on, and another really great system to avoid food spoilage. Just let's have a hand for all our ninth graders. This was really just amazing. And for all of our students who put all this effort in for their projects this year, just well done. So we do have a few more minutes and we have a few more questions. So our first question right now is going to be for the food finders. So food finders, here's your question. Were you able to carry on implementation in your local grocery stores or shelter? And how did the community respond to your mission?
So our program actually transports food directly from grocery stores to schools, bypassing the food pantry process, and we were unable to implement it because of COVID, but that is our intention with the STEM in Action grant.
That is fantastic. And I would be curious to see how it all works out. So that is really fantastic. We have another question from our signing squad. Question is, what was the most positive piece of feedback you discovered in creating your program that allows the deaf community to bridge the language gap with the hearing community?
I feel like the most rewarding thing about this process was providing this sort of free connection solution, because at the moment, a lot of human translators are too expensive for the average middle class family. And well, this is the solution, and this is the route that we intended to go through.
It also feels great to be able to bring more awareness to this issue as well.
I agree. That is absolutely fantastic. And it looks like we have one quick and final question, and that is for the Hawks. Hawks, the question is, has your team considered other ways that this technology could be used for other seeing aids, like on a Seeing Eye Dogs service vest?
When we were brainstorming, we actually considered a lot of different ways we could find a solution for the BVI community. And I know, like, even in this showcase, there was another team that found a different solution for the BVI community. So yes, we have considered doing a lot of things, and we do have a STEM in Action grant. So we're really excited moving forward on what we can come up with to further our solution and apply it to other fields as well.
That is fantastic. And you're right, there was another team. And I think that kind of collaboration that you guys get to do with this too is really, really incredible. So Matt, that is our incredible ECyber Mission showcase teams. But I think we've got some more reminders before we close down today. What you got for us, Matt?
Well, of course, we have to remember that the voting for People's Choice will be open until 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's another 40 minutes. You can get in there and vote. Currently, we've got over 4,200 votes for these teams, and I have no idea who is winning, so don't even ask me because I don't have that information. But you can find out who does win if you attend the awards ceremony, which will start at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm told that the link to that award ceremony has been put into the chat on YouTube. So if you are interested in attending that, you didn't have that link, do join us at 2 p.m. Not only will you find out who the People's Choice Award winner is, you're going to see all the awards. You're going to find out who wins our national prizes for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. You're going to see who wins our Army Values Awards. You're going to see all the different awards that we have for you folks, and it is going to be quite a show.
Yeah, it sounds like a great show. I think there are some incredible speakers you're going to have. And also, rumor has it, you know, the MC extraordinaire, Mr. Matt Hartman, will be back with you for that awards show. So make sure you're checking you, Matt.
Oh, I guess I better look into that.
Yeah, the best of the best. We've got to have you for the awards show.
Oh, thank you, Erica.
You are my people's choice, Matt.
Oh, thank you so much, and you're mine. And thank you, Erica, for hosting this with me. I think that this has been a great time. I hope all of you enjoyed watching it. Thank you again to all of our students who participated, all the team advisors, and all the parents, all the adults who helped these students. You all did a fantastic job. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the awards ceremony when it comes up at 2 o'clock Eastern time. And remember, if you're posting on social media, hashtag ECyber21, get the word out there, tell the people, and vote for that People's Choice. That's all I got. Erica, you got anything you want to say?
I just want to say congratulations again, and thank you to everyone again. And don't forget, make sure you check out www.usaeop to find out what happens next in Army STEM. There are programs there for everyone, and we want to see you again next year. We want to see you every year. So thank you and congratulations for all of your work and making it nationals. This is really, really incredible.
Agreed. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Thank you.